I'm going to call to order the March 4th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's get through some administrative board work. First thing is approval of minutes. Mr. Rugg, do we have any minutes to approve?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just want to note there's 7 voting members here tonight. That is more than a quorum, so we are good to go.
I can make a nomination, though.
No.
I can't, never mind.
We're all filled up with regular members.
I forget that, Mr. Knight is
Gianni
not
and
on.
John are absent, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 4th, 2026, as presented.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Tony D. I. John Farrell, I.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, I.
Sean Faber, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. These minutes have been approved. Do we have another set?
Yes,
Maybe
Mr.
11th,
Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 11th, 2026, as presented.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Tony D. I. John Farrell, I.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, I.
Sean Faber, abstain.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. These minutes have been approved. All right, Kelly, regional impact determinations. We have anything?
Not this evening, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And any discussions with town staff?
All set.
Good.
You have one extension request for 42 Wentworth, which is a site plan that you approved about 120 days ago. They're asking for a 6-month extension to September 4th, 2026.
So I am looking for a motion to grant an extension to the 42 Wentworth site plan to September 4th, 2026.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion from John. I have a second from Art. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Tony D. I. John Farrell, I.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, I.
Sean Faber, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This extension request has been granted to September 4th, 2026. Anything else, Kelly?
That's all.
Kristen, you good?
All set.
Fantastic. We are going to before we get into our master plan public hearing, we do have a continuance tonight, a requested continuance on the Procopio site plan. So I am going to be looking for a recommendation. It's going to be on both of them, Kelly, correct?
All three.
A and B?
There's 3.
3.
Perfect. I'm looking for a motion to continue these to, do we want to do the second week in April?
The applicant requested April 1.
April 1?
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. We will, I'm looking for a motion to continue these to April 1st, 2026. This would be old business A and B, and new plans A.
So moved.
I have a motion from Jeff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. D. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Tony D. I. John Farrell, I.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, I.
Sean Faber, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. The Procopio site plans on Gilcrest Road have been continued to April 1st, 2026, which is the first meeting of next month. All right, master plan public hearing. We have a public hearing to consider the adoption of the Town of Londonderry Master Plan pursuant to RSA 674-2 and RSA 675-6. The proposed master plan is a comprehensive planning document intended to guide the future growth, development, and conservation of the Town of Londonderry, and includes the required chapters as set forth in RSA 674-2, including but not limited to the vision, land use, housing, transportation, economic development, and natural resources. The proposed master plan is available for public inspection during normal business hours at the planning department and online at londonderrynh.gov. All right, folks, come on up. Nice to see you again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. You want me to do it for you?
Yeah. Kelly can drive for us. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and the rest of the board. It is truly a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm Suzanne Nienaber, Principal Planner with the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission.
Good evening, planning board members. My name is Cam Perlman, Senior Planner with the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission.
Yeah. And since tonight is the scheduled public hearing for adoption of the master plan, we wanted to start by just doing a very high-level reflection on this process, just to set the stage for that. So first, we'll do a very kind of high-level project summary, reiterating some of the points that we shared a month ago, but we'll move through those pretty quickly. Then we'll talk about the public comment period process and some of the comments that were received. And then we'll turn it to the board for discussion of comments and sharing your own thoughts and moving towards the public hearing for adoption. So next slide. So first of all, this has been a tremendously collaborative effort. It would not have happened without the work of the individuals you see on this slide. We had a very active steering committee that met almost monthly for the entire year and a half of the plan development, and guided this process in a really fantastic and deliberate way. I also want to thank town staff who were closely involved, planning board members who reflected on this, and everyone from the community who were engaged during this very collaborative process. As you can see, there was a multi-pronged community outreach to get folks engaged in and aware of the planning process. Everything from tabling at public events to posting on social media, op-eds in the Londonderry Times. I got to do a really fun session with the senior center. And all of that was very effective in getting responses, next slide, from a total of more than 2,000 surveys that were completed. And there were 2 different survey cycles. And so those of you who completed those know that each survey cycle touched upon a series of different topics. But we were incredibly impressed. This is excellent turnout, excellent sample size, especially for a community of Londonderry's size, and really gave us a very strong foundation for guiding the content of the master plan. Next slide. Oh. This is moving a little slow, but we also wanted to call attention to some some community workshops that were held in this very room. We thought it was really important to not just do individual survey response, but bring folks together to have some dialogue about some key priorities and start to ground some of the feedback we were receiving about priorities for the future in specific locations in the community. So you'll see that in the plan as well, in the future land use map. Next slide. This is the content that you'll find in the master plan. Most of those of you who responded to the first series, the first survey, that content is basically summarized in part 1 chapters. Folks who responded to the second survey that happened last fall, that content is summarized in part 2 chapters. And there's a plan insert that digs deeper into all of the engagement that happened, as well as the vision for future land use and the future land use map. I want to call attention to the final chapter, chapter 10. Next slide. This is the shortest chapter in the plan. It is 1 page long, but it is really important. And the steering committee emphasized that this really should be a living document. And the recommendation and the content of that chapter indicates that the planning board will be leading next steps to sustain collaboration around implementation of the plan, really align this work with strategic planning activities that are concurrent, and ideally assign an individual to spearhead collaborative semi-annual review to really reassess priorities and opportunities and also celebrate implementation successes emerging from this work. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cam, and he's going to talk a little bit about the public comment period.
Thank you. So we last saw you January 28th. That kicked off the public comment period, which lasted from the 29th to February 28th. Town staff as well as steering committee members posted the link to provide comments via a Google form on the town website, through social media, meeting announcements. It was on public access TV, and some folks did personal outreach as well. We received a total of 8 comments from the public via this Google form. The comments addressed various topics such as historic resources, open space protection, development concerns, renewable energy, fiscal responsibility, North Village identity, and the frequency of the master plan review. Slide. We, as in Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission staff, did go ahead and make some of the more minor corrections, and I can give you a couple of examples. I believe the planning board members have a copy of the comments received. The first one, for example, we incorrectly noted that the Morrison Meeting House was slated for inclusion on the State Register of Historic Places. We were informed that actually it is not slated as of now, so we made that correction. Another example is that we also noted an incorrect number of Conservation Commission members, and so we made those edits. There are more substantial comments, and we felt that these to address some of these comments, that should be up to the discretion of the planning board, but we felt it was important to document them, and so we created a new appendix that would go in this master plan that documents each public comment received during this public comment period. And yeah, did I cover that all?
You covered it.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, we'll turn the conversation back to you for any planning board discussion about revisions and also for the public hearing process.
Well, I'll start with the board and then we'll go to the public. Anybody from the board have anything they'd like to add?
I think we've been through this quite a bit, so it's,
No, I would just just really quickly, thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Cam, for kind of working with us and kind of getting this plan on paper here. We've had a lot of various conversations on this plan as a board level. This evening, we have some choices to make whether we move forward with adopting or if there's further insight that we need to kind of put in. The one thing I would like to kind of point out though is that there are some great comments here, and I think if we could somewhat focus on the North Village aspect as well. I just want to kind of premise this by saying throughout the 18-month process, the North Village has been, was a topic of importance. And I think it does have kind of that unique character that can serve multi-generations that I think we definitely want to kind of really think through. So the comment that is related to the North Village, I want to ensure that we kind of do look at that a little bit, really kind of and potentially map it to some of the strategies that we have currently as the Master Plan Steering Committee has kind of put forward. Lastly, I just want to kind of thank the Master Plan Steering Committee. That group has been, stellar. We had, some turnover and such like that, but there have been, very good advocates and for the town, and the folks on that committee really deserve kind of our appreciation. So, with that said, Mr. Chair.
Sure. All right, we'll bring it to the public. If the public has anything they'd like to discuss, come on up. Suzanne, could you just put that microphone on the, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Ray Breslin, 3 Gary Drive. I do want to thank the town for putting me up for Volunteer of the Year. There's a lot of other people that volunteer, including you folks, and I certainly appreciate that. We all try to do a bit. But getting back to the master plan, I think a lot of time was spent by a lot of people, including Southern New Hampshire planning, that assisted the town. And I think that's good. I took a look at it myself, multiple pages, and one thing that, because I'm very much concerned with natural resources and water, I think that was brought up. But I think, personally, I think we probably need to really look at that moving forward. We understand the master plan is a guiding document for the planning board and for zoning and other things in town. It doesn't have a lot of power, but it is a plan and a vision looking forward. And I think it's very important that a lot of that be taken into account, and because it is really important. Thank you for what the planning board does, the town council does, other boards do, and thank you to the Southern New Hampshire Planning. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ray. Anybody else? Evening, sir. If you
Evening,
could
how are
just
you?
state your name and address.
My name is Mike DeVellis. I live at 7 Chalmers Road, my wife and I. I think if this project's going to affect anybody, it's going to be us, because we're literally right behind it, and I personally don't care. And be my guest, build your restaurant, whatever it is you're doing.
Oh, we're not quite there yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're talking about a
Sorry, I
master
don't go to many of
plan.
these meetings, I don't quite know how
Come
it
back
works.
up in about a half hour.
Okay, you'll see me in a half an hour.
Thank you. Anything else from the public on the master plan? Evening, sir.
Good evening. John Wilson, Tranquil Drive. I'd like to call your attention in the master plan to page 80, item, excuse me, item 8. I don't know. And you probably don't have that handy, so I happen to have. Basically, I'll summarize it. It basically says expand on-demand transportation opportunities for non-drivers by promoting cart services. So as it happens, the Senior Resource Committee, of which I'm a member, has sponsored a warrant article this year. It's warrant article 22. And I wanted to go over that briefly because I'd like to understand whether or not what we are doing is a good fit for what you were proposing in the master plan. Okay? So, Article 22 is, I guess I would describe it as unique from the other warrant articles that you see just about every year, and that most of those articles tell you very quickly in the title what you're voting on. It'll tell, to raise money to buy a fire engine, to approve the town budget, and so on. Article 22 is unique because it does a variety of things rolled into one warrant article. I won't be able to quote the warrant articles, but basically a warrant article was created to take two other RSAs, including the one that we're talking about tonight, and put them in a package. And it used a warrant article that allows the towns to add a fee onto the car vehicle registration fees. It also adds in the ability to, at the same time, set up a reserve to hold that money for a specific use in transportation. Okay, and then the question is where do you use the money? Well, what we're doing and what we think we have general agreement with the town management and the budget committee and so on, we are going to use the money to use as match money for CART. Okay, which I think fits in pretty well with your concept of promoting CART usage. But the warrant article is tough to get to because when you read it, you say, this is just a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo on here. And and it's very difficult to get across the point that down underneath that mumbo jumbo is the ability to significantly increase the funding and the services that CART can provide over the years. And and it's also gives us funding every year that's relatively consistent. It's not like putting a warrant article on and then have to come back year after year and ask for money. This will bring in a slow but steady funding, so it can be used for a service that continues. Okay, year after year, you can't have a service for somebody and then pull the rug out from under them because you can't fund them the next year. That'd be like having the police department's budget every year on a warrant article, and then next year comes along. So, but the point I'm trying to make is that warrant article, it doesn't sound like much. It never mentions senior transportation, but that's what it's for. And the question is that compatible with what you're asking for on the master plan? All right.
Yeah, so really quickly, I'll just address that, and I think it's important to.
I can't.
Yep, sorry about that. I'm not even near the mic. Yeah, so really quickly, I'll address that. For the most part, yeah, it's in the same vein. It's in the same kind of strategy, right? So if we think about the master plan, it's our strategic vision. What you've proposed and the great work that you and the senior committee has done is bring that warrant article to fruition. In future, once this is adopted, then we can start to kind of really say, oh, hey, we have this warrant article over here, and it maps to our strategic plan over here. So now we're telling the story of what we're doing. So I think the work that you have done is aligned with that. And once when the planning board does decide to adopt this this evening or in a future meeting, then we'll definitely kind of look at it from we'll have that data to really map it, map the work that we're
Okay, so
doing.
this is a good start on one item on the master plan, right?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Wilson.
Anything else from the public on the master plan? All right, seeing none, I will bring it back to the board. I would be looking for a motion to adopt the master plan.
So moved.
I have a motion from Sean. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Arthur. Oh, yeah, sure. Discussion?
Well, yeah, we can just open it for discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to kind of again bring the North Village in on this, and I think having the comments as an appendix as part of the plan, allows us the flexibility to kind of provide that document so we can guide the implementation of it. It gives us that data and that information, kind of do so. So
Sure.
There's also a comment here about about an energy plan. With that though, I do want to kind of stress that I think that the Utilities Committee does have a energy plan that is kind of fruitful and, very vast and very important. What I would caution the board with including that is then having that in even the appendix of the master plan, does that now provide us having that oversight of that? I don't think it does, but I just want to kind of throw that kind of out there.
Yeah, no. I think we'd be all right. Anybody have any comments?
I think Jeff's onto something good, because I look at the public comments more as a strategic, plan that would fit in the strategic plan. I mean, it'll guide us in the implementation, and that's what the strategy is supposed to do. I know the town council and town manager are working on a town strategic plan. This will dovetail into what they are doing.
Mr. D, good?
I'm good.
Anybody else?
Good.
Okay. Jeff, anything else?
I don't think so.
Cool. So we had a motion by Sean. We had a second. We just had some discussion. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Tony D, aye.
John Farrell, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. The master plan has finally made it to the finish line. Thank you for everybody that has been involved. Thank you
Thank
both
you.
very much. Thank you.
2 years.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of input.
Thank you all. All right, so I'm done, right?
Yes. All right. We are going to get into some new plans. We've got a public hearing on an application for formal review of a site plan for renovation of an existing building to add a restaurant and associated parking in support of an agritourism operation at 230 Mammoth Road, map 6, lot 21, zoned AR1. MHO Acquisitions LLC is the owner and the applicant. If you folks want to come on up. Kelly and John, I will start with you two.
Again, completeness. There are now 9 outstanding checklist items. If the board decides to accept the application as complete, these items should be waived for acceptance only. They are outlined, the 9 initial waiver requests are outlined in Kelly's memorandum dated today. The 1, 2, and 3 waiver requests, those will come back up later on in the discussion, and staff would recommend that you accept this for, grant the waivers 4 through 9 for acceptance only, and accept kind of an initial granting of those first 3 waivers so that you can get to the other waivers.
Sure.
Otherwise, the process can't continue.
Okay. All right. Kelly, anything else to add to that?
So again, just waiving those items listed under completeness for acceptance only, so you can proceed with
Yep.
the applicant's presentation and then the rest of the items
Fantastic.
thereafter.
So we have 9 outstanding checklist items. I would be looking for a motion to waive these checklist items for acceptance purposes only.
So move, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion from Mr. Rugg. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Sean. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Tony D. I. John Farrell, I.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Sean Faber, I.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. These first 9 items have been waived for acceptance purposes only and have now become a condition of approval. All right. Kelly, John, anything else before we get to the applicant? Fantastic. All right, folks, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. My name is Laura Gandia. I'm an attorney with Divine Millimet, here representing the applicant, Max Apples, or MHO Acquisition. And I just want to take a moment to introduce our team. I have Dari from Tent Engineering, who's our engineer. I also have Kim from TVPP, who's our traffic. And then I have Kyle, who's the principal owner of MHO Acquisitions and Max Apples. So as this board is aware, Max Apples is a staple of the Londonderry community. It is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, apple orchard in the state. Max family has been in Londonderry since 1792. You've all heard the story before that it is an integral part of Londonderry and who Londonderry is. We are here under the agritourism statute, the state statute for a farm-to-table restaurant under RSA 21A34. We have appeared before you folks a couple of times, me once, but I know this project has been in front of the board another time as well. Last time I was in front of you, I presented the board with a packet of information with state statutes, and we went through that and the waiver requirements under RSA 67432. The last time we did go through the statutes, and we also had the Commissioner of Agriculture, Sean Jasper, here to answer questions that the board may have had. He is not with us tonight and apologizes, but he wanted me to reiterate to you his support for the project. We also had some discussion regarding the site plan review requirements and the language in the state statute where towns may require. We went through that with the board. We are here before you today with a full site plan and a request for 11 waivers. The approval we are seeking is for an approximately 4,000 square foot restaurant within the existing footprint of the existing building for a capacity of approximately 99. That will be constructed, as I said, within the existing building. There'll be no expansion of the existing building. There will be some changes to the outside of the building based on the renovations to the back side of the building for the restaurant. The entrance to the restaurant will be located on the back side. So when you're looking at Max Apples from the road, you see the farm stand. To access the restaurant, you would park and then you would walk behind the building, and that's where you would access the restaurant. With that, I will turn the presentation over to Dari from Brown Engineering, who will basically review the site plan with you.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. It's going to be a short presentation. This is a relatively simple project. There's no land development. There's no change of use. This is an agricultural site where agritourism exists, and it's going to continue that way. In fact, we don't necessarily know there will be an increase in activity at the site. We have made some very minor changes, or proposing some minor changes to the site, I should say, which really constitute improving the entranceway for customers to the restaurant in a very small, already existing area, and then adding some lighting to the parking area. Other than that, I would just like to thank staff and the town engineering. We appreciate all the comments that we received in those memos and reports. And from our standpoint, we don't foresee any problems with addressing each and every one of those comments that appear in the engineering memo. Other than that, I'll stop there. Again, I see this as a relatively simple from an engineering standpoint, and happy to take any questions from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I do have the 11 waivers. That a lot of that's going to be repetition of the waiver requirements.
Yeah,
don't know
and
if the board
I think
wanted- they had some
we'll
questions
certainly
first.
take them one by one.
Sure.
I feel like it's appropriate to walk through them with us one by one, and then we'll kind of go from there.
And did you have any questions beforehand?
Let's work with the waivers. If I want to get through the waivers because there's a lot of them, and then we'll get to general board questions and whatnot.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. As indicated in the staff memo, thank you, Kelly, for outlining the waiver statute. Under agritourism, the state legislator has made it a point to promote a collaborative approach between farming activities in the state and municipalities, and by doing so, they have recognized the importance of agritourism and agriculture in the state. With that, they have implemented RSA 674-32C, which is the statute that provides a different standard for waivers than those waivers standards that are typically contained in site plan review regulations. The waiver request are governed by state statute, and it basically provides that municipal boards must grant a waiver from generally applicable site or building requirements if literal application would effectively prohibit an agricultural use or be unreasonable in the context of an agricultural use. The waiver is necessary to reasonably permit the agricultural use, and the waiver will not have a demonstrated adverse effect on public health or safety or the value of adjacent properties. So that's the criteria, the framework in which we are working. And the statute does reference, in accordance with another statute, which is RSA 672-1, Roman numeral 3, letter B, and that portion of the statute talks about the importance of agriculture, that it makes vital and significant contributions to the food supply, the economy, the environment, and the aesthetics features of the state of New Hampshire, and agricultural activities are a beneficial and worthwhile feature of the New Hampshire landscape. Agritourism is undertaken by farmers to contribute to both the economic viability and the long-term sustainability of the primary agriculture activities in New Hampshire. Agricultural activities and agritourism shall not be unreasonably limited by the use of municipal planning and zoning powers or by the unreasonable interpretation of such powers. So again, this is setting the framework for that collaborative approach between farmers and local municipalities. So the first waiver request that we are seeking is to section V.10 and sections 3.11, 5.06 regarding the conservation overlay. as this board may be aware, if you look at the site plan, there is an agricultural farm pond that was dug and created to provide irrigation for the farm by the Mack family, I believe in the 1950s. It's been used for irrigation purposes since then. The New Hampshire EPA, they typically exempt farm ponds from wetland classifications based on the usage that happens with these ponds, because they're emptied and then they're refilled again. The town of Londonderry does not exempt farm ponds from the Conservation Overlay District. Other municipalities do. So we are seeking to be exempt from delineating the farm pond, which we actually did do that, but more importantly, to not be subject to the Conservation Overlay District, to not put signs up, and to basically keep what you see at the site as is. So we were in front of the Conservation Commission, and we presented our position to them twice, and they came back with a recommendation wanting to keep the 25-foot buffer, and that's where the picnic tables are. So keep that as is, to keep the picnic tables there. And at first, they talked about putting signs, around the front of that. They decided not to make that a recommendation based on the language of the sign and the uncomfortable or unfriendly feeling that would have to visiting patrons with the sign. So they did not require us to put signs there or ask us to put signs there. They did want to keep that 25-foot buffer and let us keep the picnic tables there. Going along the back side of the building, up along the back portion of the farm pond, they did talk about putting the CO2 district signs there. Unbeknownst to me, when I first met with them, I didn't realize that those signs would actually be placed in the middle of the field where farming activities take place. So I sent an email back to the Conservation Commission with this additional knowledge and a request by my client to not have us put those signs where farming activities take place. We did not attend the meeting, but we did receive comments back. The way I understood the comments was they still wanted the signs to be there, but only to be placed on existing trees. So we're not going to be putting a post in the middle of the farm field in the back. They also had concerns about snow storage, and we are noting on the plan that snow storage will take place on the right side of the plan near the old existing barn. But back to the waiver. So our waiver is to not be subject to putting those signs there. We believe that this would be unreasonable in the context of the farming activities to put signs on a farm where we're trying to be welcoming and inviting to visitors. So we're asking to be exempt from the requirements of the CO2 district buffer and to be putting those Conservation Overlay District signs.
Board have any questions?
I interpreted the sign thing differently when I read it. There was a second handwritten portion that, I don't know who wrote it, but the chairperson of that committee is here tonight. Could we bring her forward or ask
Well, it's right here.
ask a
Place
question?
conservation signs on the trees along north
It looks like the north and
edges
the
of the
west
pond.
edges
I
of
mean,
the
it's
pond.
written right in the notes that she sent along, as you said.
I'd like to hear
Limits-
the chairman of the Conservation Commission herself
Well,
speak.
she signed it right here. It's
Yeah, she's
exactly
here.
what she just wrote.
She's here. She just waved.
Custom signage
Where is she?
concerning message similar to
She's sitting in the
standard
audience.
buffer signs. Friendlier could be option for the area. I mean, where the picnic tables are. Just reading what she wrote.
Marge, if you want to come up real quick, Tony's got a question for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marge Bedoy, Conservation Commission. We just thought it would be good to indicate that that area is conservation. It shows that the farm is participating in protecting wetlands. We view it as a good thing. It's not imposing a hardship. We didn't feel if they were on the trees, they're not in the way. They're just educating people that this is protected wetlands, which is a good thing. There was concern that the verbiage felt off-putting to people who were visiting, and we thought that if in the front where the picnic tables are, if they wanted to create signs that just in a friendlier manner indicated that this is conservation, please respect it, we'd be okay with that.
So, but I think we heard testimony that said that your committee said they didn't have to put them where the picnic tables are, but you're saying you would like some kind of signage there, maybe not the official ones that you have.
Right, we
but
didn't
some-
have to put the
If-
off-putting ones.
Yeah.
But we're just asking for a little
And so how would,
education of people.
yeah, so how would you, do you have a suggestion for us on how we would put that in language that made sense? You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do that.
As far as what verbiage to be on there?
Well,
Well, what she says here, Tony, is
What
this
you're sa-
custom signage conveying a message similar to the standard buffer signs in a friendlier manner could be an option for the area where the picnic tables are. So I think what you're saying is use our standard language, but make it nice.
Yeah, cute it up, you know,
Yeah,
whatever,
but-
and just one would be fine.
right,
Just
but to beat the horse again, you're saying your commission wants signs near the picnic tables.
It would be nice, yes, we would.
And that is the 25-foot buffer?
The fence is approximately 25 feet, so we, instead of,
Post and rail fence?
right.
Okay.
So instead of making them move the fence or adding another structure, it
Yeah.
seems to make sense to just have that fence serve as the boundary.
Sure.
Because
And what-
no vehicles are going to go past that, so,
Hopefully.
yes.
So the I saw some cars today that were doing things that
Yeah.
didn't think was possible. but
yesterday, too.
This morning. So would you be okay with those signs on the fence post? Instead of having an additional post, just add
Right,
it to
that's what-
to the post
yes.
that's already there, the post and
Right.
rail fence?
Right, just to educate people, you know, please
Sure.
don't throw the trash, you know, respect,
Got it.
throw stuff in the water.
Okay, thank you.
One last one real quick, Marge, and I think you cleared it up for me while you were talking. For the signs along the north and west edges of the pond, you're not looking for it at the 25-foot buffer. You're saying, hey,
No,
get
wherever
the
there's a
closest
tree,
tree
just
so it's not
indicate.
in the way or impeding any farm activity, that type
Right.
of thing. Thank you.
All right.
Anything else for Marge? Good?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, and Marge, just, you know, because you're right, the conservation overlays, the protection sign, it states, protected conservation area, do not disturb, we're gonna hang you, whatever. I think a simple sign that would say, protected
Doesn't say
conservation
hang.
area, period, would be enough.
Right.
Yeah.
You follow that?
Keep it simple,
Tony?
yeah.
Real simple.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. What I thought I heard was that the Conservation Commission or the applicant doesn't want to put them at the pond or at the picnic tables. And I probably heard incorrectly, but.
No,
seeing
what
as
happened
Mar-
is they came well,
seeing as
they
Marge
came
is
before
here,
us
I wanted to
twice.
have her
In the
clear it up.
original time that Laura came, then expressed concern about the verbiage of the sign. We said, okay, you didn't have to put them there because they were offensive. And then when we reviewed it again, it was like, why can't we just do a friendlier version?
Got it. And that
Just-
happened at the second time they presented to you.
Correct.
Okay.
It-
All right,
We
thank
didn't
you.
present the second time, we weren't
Right,
there.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marge. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And if I could.
We have direction.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
And I just wanted to add, just to clarify the point of putting signs along the picnic table. We just want to be cautious about what those signs were, and that's the discussion we had with the commission, saying protect the conservation area. Like, people might be like, oh, we can't come in. I mean, people have been using this area for the picnic table. The owner is very cognizant of that area. So putting signs there, we'd rather not see that happen where the picnic table area is, just because we want that area to be inviting.
What about if we just added?
Well, it'd be on the
beyond
fence.
this point?
We just said, though, it would be on the post and rail fence. The sign would be on the fence
Oh.
post.
Right, so if I'm a visitor to the farm and I come in and I park and I want to go sit at the picnic tables and have my
Yeah.
ice cream, if I see the sign that says protected conservation area, I'm going to be like, oh, well, there's picnic tables, can I go, can I not go? So that was the type of
Okay.
discussion that we had, and that's why the first round of discussions were, okay, we understand that we're not going to have you put it, but put it along the backside.
Kelly?
Just, if I can, so the applicant's asking for a waiver from this requirement. in its entirety. So that's your that's your
Yep.
analysis.
Yep.
If the board
Got it.
denies the waiver, then maybe you consider modifying a condition that
Yep.
states friendlier signs, essentially complying with the conservation comment. But at this stage, your decision is you're granting the waiver or you're denying the waiver. You don't condition waivers. It's not advised to do that, and they're asking for it in its entirety. So that's
Okay.
your consideration right now.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we want to go on to the next one?
Sure.
Sure.
There are two that are interrelated. So there was one for the grading and drainage plan and one for the stormwater management plan. Those are sections 3.07. And I'll ask Dari to correct me if I misspeak about some of the engineering terms. We're seeking a waiver from that based on what's happening at the site. We are not proposing any external construction on the site, minus the installation of the light post in the parking area. There was discussion about a retaining wall being put up. That retaining wall, it's my understanding, will be made of rock and have the ability to handle any type of water flow. With that, we don't see that there is a need for any type of grading or drainage. We're not changing runoff. We're not doing anything that's going to affect that. All of our construction and changes are happening within the existing structure. It would be unreasonable, in our opinion, to require a full grading and drainage plan and stormwater management plan when there's no exterior changes to the site or construction being proposed at the site, with the provisions, exceptions for what I just stated, unless I'm misspeaking.
No, that was well said. I agree. I concur.
John, can you provide some input or opinion on that, please?
So again,
And bring that microphone to you, would you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
we may end up having to come back to this, Jake, because again, this.
Yeah.
Once we get in, looking at the safety of the site.
Yep.
That's kind of where this will lead into needing a grading and drainage analysis and a plan.
Okay.
We'd almost have to put this on the back burner right now.
Okay. Anything from the board? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, what I look at is the usage or the proposed new usage with a 99-seat restaurant. My vision is that there'll be more traffic there, more wear and tear. So I'd like at least some idea of what's going to happen with the water. I mean, it doesn't have to be a full-fledged, drainage plan, but also stormwaters. We do have some heavy downpours. How do we deal with that? I mean, more traffic in and out of there, it could change the slope and So that's one of my worries. I'm looking at it to protect the public. What can we do to protect the public that uses that area?
Yeah, Art, are you talking about runoff impacts?
Pardon?
You talking about runoff impacts?
Yes, yeah. Both you're talking about 2 and was it 4?
But we're talking about a completely different step. You're talking about 365 days a year, and you're talking about a parking lot that has never been used to the extent in which they're proposing in the winter. So we really have, unless we have some sort of crystal ball, we don't know what the effect to that parking lot's going to be, including runoff.
Right.
Tony?
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, go by the site now, it's not plowed. But it's gonna be plowed when this new use, and by the way, I object to the comment that was made that this is not a change of use. It's definitely a change of use. You're going from a farm stand to a full-service restaurant. We'll talk about that later. The fact is, you're gonna have cars coming in, especially a winter like this, which we probably haven't had in 2 decades, with all those salt licks behind their front tires and back tires that fall off after you park, are left there. The salt leaches into the ground, runs off to wherever it's running to, and I think John's point is it okay?
Yeah.
We don't have a basis.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
We don't know, we don't have topos, we don't have anything.
They've shot topo, but again, the drainage hasn't been analyzed. This is the aerial photo from our GIS.
Yeah.
And what the drainage area, what the drainage plan will do is address these puddles.
Yeah. which is right by the exact
The
entrance
handicap
that people are
parking.
gonna be walking and parking or whatever. But we really don't have a basis for drainage for that site. We don't know which way really the water's gonna go.
Not at this time.
Especially once the ground is frozen, and that's one of the more important things in my opinion. But if we're gonna come back to this, I'm done.
Sure.
Thank you.
You want to go to the next one?
Do you want to make any comments?
Well, so, are you interested in comments, continued comments on that? I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have them.
Yeah, okay, sure. I mean, again, we're looking at change to the site as far as increase in impervious area. We understand, is that not the basis of the, if I may ask, is that not the basis of determining whether a stormwater management or grading and drainage is required? Is there some threshold at which that type of information is triggered? If it's area of disturbance, then I guess I would argue that we wouldn't be subject if it's some other criteria.
Mr. Chairman?
So that's why when I said,
John,
when I said that the board's gonna have to look at, what the adverse effect on the public health and safety utilizing this site, that's what would kick in the necessity to look at that
That's what would
drainage.
trigger the drainage.
You're saying if we had to
plan, so.
change what we're proposing in order to address public safety?
Correct.
Okay, but based on what we're proposing now, I guess that's what we're asking. I mean, certainly if the course of this deliberation goes in the direction that it's determined that we have to add impervious area that we aren't proposing now, certainly that, anything could happen. But at this point, I mean, we're asking for the waiver based on what we're proposing. Yeah.
I think your question is as simple as what's triggering the requirement for this
Yes, it is.
analysis. So
Correct.
the requirement is part of our site plan submission process. You submitted a full site plan, so right there
Okay.
ticks a box. And then you can ask for a waiver from those requirements, which is what you're doing.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe I
So
oversimplified it.
No, that's good.
Is it right in the
I guess,
It's the site plan process itself. That,
well, but, I mean, it would not, I suppose, if there were no change to grading and drainage or stormwater management scheme, then it would be reasonable to grant the waiver, perhaps unreasonable to not grant the waiver, right?
I guess
mean,
that's your argument.
Well, right. I mean, I shouldn't say that to Kelly. I guess I should say that to the board. I mean, right? If we're proposing no change to grading or drainage and no change to stormwater management scheme at this point, therefore, I contend that it's reasonable and appropriate to grant this waiver. So, thank you.
would you consider the addition of the restaurant a change of use to the facility?
Well, a change in the ins and outs of how the facility is used, indeed, yes. When I stated this is not a change of use previously, what I meant is it's not it doesn't move the site from one use category to another, in my understanding. My understanding is it's an agricultural site that has agritourism as an aspect of that agriculture now, and then that will continue under this proposal. That's what I meant by that.
Tony, I saw you have your hand up.
Yeah, and so I think the basis of what happens here is obviously point of law and point of rules, policies, and procedures. So typically, when any site comes before us and follows through with the application process, to Kelly's point, you got to tick off the boxes. If you don't tick off the boxes, then you got to have waivers.
Right.
And in this case, and I'm not going to get into the argument about the change of use or not, but I will tell you when there is a change of use, then John, please protect me. Tell me when I'm wrong. But my my recollection is when those things happen, then the entire site is opened up for review. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Okay? And that's really all that's happening here. We want to know what are the current conditions so that we can make a decision on whether what's happening there meets the requirements or doesn't, because it's been there forever, and there's no records of anything that I'm aware of. Tell me if you open the drawer and it's empty.
Yeah.
So that's part of the issue. We have, and you weren't here, but we have already said it was an 11-to-1 vote that this site meets the agritourism.
Right.
We already did that.
Right.
Okay, so all this stuff that's going around on social media, and I've been getting screenshots for 6 days now of stuff, and flyers that have been handed out and mailed out and all this other kind of stuff, it's incorrect.
Well, for the record, I'm oblivious to anything
we're not,
going on.
you know, so I'm not going to go too far down that road right now, but the point is, we don't have a basis to say what you want to do will work or not, whether it's safe or not. You're going to put a walkway in, and a surveyor's going to come in and say that's it. I'm going to make up a number, 304.17. Great. What does that mean? We don't know. We don't know if that's going to be safe or not. The town engineer and the town planner needs to be able to say this is inside our regulations or it isn't or it's outside our regulations. And so therein lies the problem. That's the elephant in the room. We said at the last meeting we want to work. We're trying to be cooperative, but we also have to try and protect people too, and we do that a lot.
I guess, if I may.
Sure.
Thank
John,
you.
I know. Hold on, John. I know you had a question.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, I know I've probably walked the parking lot 1,000 times. Probably collectively up here on the board, it's been walked tens of thousands of times. It's a lot of hills and valleys. You know, to come in here and say, it's all set, we need to go, it's kind of silly. No one in the last meeting was saying, hey, this is a bad idea. What we're saying is that we have regulations, we have rules, and, you know, we got to meet them. Saying that the parking lot is good to go and you want a waiver, withdraw your waiver. I mean, let's work together, but that's just not going to happen.
Well, I mean, I think we'd rather you just vote on them rather than withdraw.
We'll keep going before we get to that. If you want to go to the next one, Laura.
I do, please. The next one is a waiver to not provide a landscaping plan pursuant to section 3.10 of the regulations. 3.10 talks about the landscape in the town, and it actually mentions orchards as being, you know, inherent in landscaping. So with that, we believe that it would be unreasonable to provide for the applicant to provide a landscaping plan for an existing orchard, a farm stand.
Thank you. Next.
The next one is the parking lot waiver, and that is from section 3.09K. There's a provision in section V for that we are actually looking at first, so I just want to find that for you. Section 309 allows for an alternative source that can withstand the weight of a fire truck. And I'm just going to get to that. So in V, it says alternative surfacing. The planning board may permit a complete or partial substitution of an alternate surfacing for a paved surfacing on a parking lot, provided the board finds that the alternative surfacing will not be detrimental to adjacent properties and streets by reason of the generation of dust, the disintegration of the surfacing, or the dispersal of stormwater runoff, and that the surfacing is appropriate to the intensity of vehicular movements associated with the use, and that the surfacing will support an acceptable degree of access to the property by fire department apparatus. The applicant did obtain from a report from Geotechnical Services, Inc., that did look at the surfacing that exists currently, and he did conclude that the roadway is therefore suitable for a low-volume road in accordance with Federal Highway Administration design methodologies, and is determined to be adequate to support fire truck loading in the event of the emergency. So we did undertake that exercise pursuant to Section V. We believe that that meets the requirements for an alternative surfacing. I know, Member Farrell, you are asking us to withdraw that. I am going to move forward with that request, as I think, given it's a farm stand, given the nature of farm stands, the Conservation Commission actually weighed in, and they said that they would prefer not to have the parking area paved. We presented this to the Heritage. They didn't provide any comments either way, for or against it, but that was presented as what we were doing, that we were seeking not to have the parking area paved. So with that, we believe that kind of contributes to the look and feel of what we want the farm to be. It's been in existence like that for years. There hasn't been issues that have been reported that weren't able to be taken care of. We think, given the geotech report, that this is a reasonable request, and to require us to pave it, we believe would be unreasonable in the context of the agriculture use of the farm, and letting us use it as is necessary to reasonably permit the agricultural use. And it's our opinion that the waiver will not have a demonstrated adverse effect on public health, safety, or welfare, or the value of adjacent properties.
What is the metric for a low-volume road?
Do you know that? I'm not going to act like I can interpret the geotech report, but the board does have it, so that's not my expertise, so I'm not gonna be able to
That's
do it.
fine, but we don't have an understanding of what would constitute a low-volume road, middle-volume road, high-volume road.
How that's defined.
Yeah,
Right.
correct. I'm looking for a definition of a
Okay.
low-volume road.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask Kelly, could you put up the geotech where those test pits were done, please?
I think I found the answer.
Okay,
We'll go through this and we'll come back to it.
so,
Am I pulling this up or no?
Go ahead.
Second page
Second page of the overall?
of the geotech report.
It's just all in one document.
Oh,
yeah, I can't get it to come up on mine.
It's freezing.
I can do it on my personal computer, but I can't do it on the
It
on the
freezes
town
when
one.
you see it.
Yeah, mine keeps freezing
Mine's
as well.
also-
Yeah, I've got it up on my phone.
I think it's
Freezes in there.
I think it's
slow.
maxed out.
It's slow.
Yeah, it's too big of a file. Anyway, I can keep talking. The letter that was written was based on the test pits that were done pursuant to a question that was asked by the fire department. And the test pits were done right where the entrance to the new I don't know how to say it, the entrance to the new space, the renovated space. There was 3 test pits, correct?
Three test pits, and they were done on the side, so if you're looking at the building, it's where the fire access road, where the fire truck would go in order to provide
Correct.
life safety. Correct.
But that does nothing for the parking lot itself. That doesn't tell us what's in the parking lot. What it tells us is that if there's a fire truck can park there and it won't sink. And we know that that's going to protect the taxpayers because the $2.5 million fire truck is not going to be damaged. That's what that tells us. It doesn't tell us if the parking lot will support anything in the winter or during mud season or whatever. And to my knowledge, there's no past history on that because it's not used in the winter and hasn't been used in the winter. The paved portion has, and that's where people go in and buy things and whatever. But we don't know You don't know. The new owner doesn't know. I don't even know. There are Macs in the audience. I don't know if they know, but I don't know, and the town engineer doesn't know what's going to happen to that parking lot when it starts to get traffic load. So it's great those test pits were done in that spot. Helpful, very, very helpful. Satisfied with that. But there should be probably 6 more in the parking lot, so we know it's there.
Just, I think I have up what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Visual.
Yeah, so the red is the 3 test pits. Right? So great. So the black part that you almost can't see right now is going to be the renovated part where the restaurant is going to be. So I guess the fire department can put up their snorkel ladder and shoot water down at it, but they really can't get to it from that side. I don't know if it meets their requirements or not. I'm not going to speak for the fire department. I know based on past experiences with them, they wanted to get at least 3/4 of the way around the building for where the activity is going to be, especially in a multi-use building. So I'm not going to speak to that at all, other than those test pits do a great job of helping the fire department. It doesn't help this board with the parking lot situation. Alternate, Mr. Chair, can I continue?
Yeah,
Alternate.
real quick on the.
Alternate types of surfaces, sure, come to us with grassy pavers. That's farmy.
Tony, real quick on the question on the fire department. They do have a comment here. Fire apparatus access road shall be provided such that any portion of the facility or any portion of an exterior wall of the first story of the building is located not more than 150 feet from fire apparatus access roads as measured by an approved route around the exterior of the building or facility. So, I guess.
So does that do it?
I'm not sure, but that is that's a comment there. I wouldn't be able to say without measuring it if there is more than 150 feet there or not. I had asked you about low traffic volume.
Yes. So I can answer your question first, then I can respond.
Please.
So in the report on the last page, page 3,
Yep.
if you look where it says traffic, and then it says payment evaluation, and then it says traffic, it says the cumulative number of ESALS over the design life is assumed to range between 10,000 and 30,000. Thus, the traffic level is assumed to be low. So I'm assuming those numbers maybe then correlate to the last paragraph in the.
Do you know what an
payment evaluation.
ESAL is by chance?
Do you know what ESAL is?
Oh. Equivalent automobile load, right? Equivalent something automobile load.
Equivalent single axle load.
Equivalent single axle load for a low traffic level
So
Yeah.
is between 10 and 30,000. I guess you would call it trips through the lifespan of the road.
What I said.
You're gonna stand out there and count.
Yeah, no. All right, you had one more you wanted to
Yes,
answer
I
Tony
think
on.
that kind of correlates with that last sentence that we were referencing, to address, Member DeFrancisco's comments. The reason those test pits were chosen was based on discussions with the fire department. They wanted to have the ability, based on the length of the hose, to be a certain way, distance from that. So that's why that was there, and it's in the regulations, so that's why it was chosen to have those 3 test pits. For your second portion of your comments, this parking area has been in existence for decades without issue, with high traffic flow and count and to capacity during the peak season.
But may I? You keep saying that, but it's not that you don't have the history that you're purporting that it has, because there's no history in the winter. There's no history during mud season. There's a history of of a summer apple picking season or whatever, and a little bit after that when the ice cream stand keeps going, and then that closes, and then there's very little activity there at all. It's not even plowed in the winter. We have no records of what that piece of land does in the winter. Does it heave? Does it not heave? What does it do? And geotech could tell us that, and test pits could do that, and then we have an opportunity, and engineering has an opportunity to work with you and make some decisions based on, well, let's see what we can do here. And yes, there are other options besides what I used to call Mercatum asphalt, and so there's plenty of other things that can be done to make it safe for the general public, for somebody in a wheelchair, for somebody in a walker, for somebody in a cane, for somebody who's not that mobile. I think you have a problem there. I do. The pond is a bigger problem, but we're going to talk about that later.
I want to keep going to, I believe we're on 6. Yes, 6. Traffic impact analysis requirements.
May I?
Yep.
So we're seeking a waiver from section 3.14 for the traffic impact analysis. We have received confirmation from NHDOT that they have approved our amended driveway permit, and they are not recommending any mitigation measures in that area. So we have that, and as this board is aware, that is a state road. So we have that. So we think with that, we'd ask that the board permit us to move forward with just the amended driveway report.
With a driveway permit, it is just, Kelly, help me out a little bit on that, or John. A driveway permit is just that. It just says, yes, you can put a driveway there. It does not necessarily bring a metric of if it's safe for the driveway there, correct?
Well, they'll look at that metric, but again, if they're basing it on TEP's report, in your package is the comments from the third-party consultant regarding, the analysis itself. The analysis just based it on a 4,000 square foot restaurant. It didn't give any background of what else is existing out there. And in that report, it also talks about off-site improvements, a turning lane on Mammoth Road. So I'm kind of a little confused, and again, we'll have to reach out to DOT to understand how did they issue a traffic permit, a driveway permit, thank you.
Is the permit existing already, John?
I'm sorry?
Is the permit existing already?
There's an existing permit, but Laura did share with us that they were going to be issuing a new permit.
Okay.
So again, with
Thank you.
And this is similar to 295 that we talked about last week, or, on Rockingham Road, right? He has to check the boxes, he checked the boxes. But now there's the point now that if there's concerns, we need to reach out to DOT and look at this closer.
Yeah, I read the entire traffic report, and I concur with you that it doesn't do an analysis for the full site.
Right.
So I don't know why DOT would issue a permit based on analysis for only partial.
Because if he's only looking at that, and again, what was he, so that's why when we have a scoping meeting, everyone's around the table. So and everybody airs their concerns. It's not just him reading the report and taking the face value of the report. So like I say, if you read it, right, it's talking about a 4,000 square foot restaurant. What about everything else?
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just want to state that, given the last meeting, I just want to make it clear that this board is in support of the overall idea of the restaurant, and I know the whole town is. We really want this, but, with this piece in particular for me, with the traffic study, the number of people that complain about traffic around town, if we don't do this traffic study, that's what creates these blockades. So if all of a sudden Mammoth Road is jammed up all the time, and people are saying, "Oh God," because of the new restaurant, and we didn't have a study to look at this, to study it, to give us the data that we need to make a decision, we're making the problem worse that people are already complaining about. And we already know from being there that there's a light issue and there are some other issues. But I personally think that's why we put all these things on regulation, to protect the business owner as well as the people in the town, to make sure what's being built is safe and it's not going to be a detriment to the town. So that's why all these requirements are in there, and some of them are less important than others, and I think there's some in here that we could probably get past, but some of these are important, and important to a lot of people in town. So I just want to say that.
Thank you.
Could I have our traffic engineer just comment on the waiver? He's here.
Yeah, that's fine. It's Ken, right? Is it
Kim.
Ken? Kim.
Kim.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Kim Haswardian, traffic engineer with TEP LLC. The analysis that we prepared is not a small analysis. It's about a 50-odd page analysis, including the appendices. We had a discussion with Zach Roller at the NHDOT district office, and he told us what he wanted to see, and we did it. Let me run through it. First of all, the existing condition on Mammoth Road. When I was out there doing my field assessment, I noticed that Mammoth Road southbound, as you approach that main driveway, the so-called north driveway, has a widened shoulder. And we obtained plans from when the DOT improved the road in the 1980s. And the geometry of that widened shoulder looks exactly like what DOT would ask for a bypass shoulder, to allow through traffic to bypass traffic slowing to turn left into the driveway. So
we're headed southbound.
If we're headed southbound, and the best I can surmise, and I think Zachary would agree with this, is when DOT went through in the 80s and improved the road. They put that in, thinking it would be the right treatment, and also the northbound shoulder, as you approach that driveway, is wide enough that it could be used as sort of an informal turn lane, or at the very least a taper. So what Zach asked us to do in our analysis is confirm that the geometry that's out there matches what the turn lane warrants would say. So what we did was we generated trips for the restaurant using the quality restaurant land use. And the quality restaurant land use is probably, in my view, is the appropriate land use because the restaurant is not intended to be a fast service pizza stand or anything like that. It's one where people go and stay for at least an hour. We took those trips for the weekday PM and Saturday peak and Saturday midday peak hours, and we added them to the trips that we counted at that northerly driveway, and we also have counts for the southerly driveway, but they're very small at that southerly driveway, and we left the volumes as they were. The trip generation was straight from the IT trip generation manual. The existing use volumes were from the November counts. No, they don't capture the very busiest operation of the farm stand, but that busy use is for 10 weekends a year. And when you do turn lane warrants, if you look at the methodology, you're supposed to do them for average conditions, and I believe we captured at least an average condition. You're not supposed to do peak conditions. And when we ran the numbers, the geometry that's out there matches what the turn lane assessment says. I believe during the Saturday peak hour, having no treatment, a shared lane for lefts and throughs into the site as appropriate, and for the PM peak hour, having a bypass shoulder, not a full marked left turn lane, but a simple bypass shoulder using the DOT's benchmarks and methods matches. Now, a couple of things on that. What differentiates this from a full traffic impact and access study? The main thing would be a level of service analysis. This assessment does not have a level of service analysis, but let's look at what a level of service analysis would give us. It would give us the level of service for movements into and out of the site. Let's look at the left turn into the site. I've been doing these for a really long time. The left turn into the site is only opposed by one direction of traffic. If you're turning left into the site, you have to watch for traffic coming at you from the south. And that's going to work at an adequate level of service. I can tell you that without running numbers. Movements into the site, right turns into the site, level of service isn't going to be an issue. You just turn right into the site. Movements out of the site, if you're making a right out of the site, usually right turns work fine. Left turns out of the site on a busy road where you have to watch for traffic coming in both directions, you're going to have delayed operations. You're going to have to wait. And that's an acceptable condition, and there's not much you can do about it. You can't put a signal there. And I wouldn't recommend prohibiting left-south, because when the road isn't busy, that would be an unnecessary prohibition. And when the road is busy, people know how to deal with left turns on a busy road like Mammoth Road. So that's where we ended up with the DOT. We did what they asked us to, and I agree with what they asked us to. The methodology we applied is very typical. Oh, one other thing. When we did our trip generation, we added the 4,000 square foot restaurant, but we didn't take away trips from the 4,000 square feet not being used for whatever it was being used for before. So we left that traffic in there, we just added the restaurant. So I believe we've captured the important information, and I'd be very happy to answer any questions at all on this.
Help me with that real quick. The last part you just said, you didn't take away what it's being used for now.
As an example, let's say someone were taking a bank building and making it into a fast food place, and let's say the bank generated 80 peak hour trips, and the fast food place generated 120 peak hour trips. That's a 40 trip increase. Okay, with the restaurant, we just added the restaurant trips, and we didn't say, they're taking away 4,000 square feet of the building they're using already for the farm stand, so we'll take away some trips. We didn't do that. We left all the trips there as if no space were being taken out of service.
The area is cold storage now, right?
Right.
Some sort of storage?
It's a storage. It's not a big generator anyway.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to figure out is there is no public traffic.
Well,
I guess aspect to the cold storage, right? Because that's used internally.
Theoretically, it depends. It depends on how you generate the trips. You might take the whole building and prorate it down or whatever. But it wasn't worth even thinking about. And what we did was on the conservative side, we didn't take any traffic away.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the memo today from the third-party consultant, the conclusion piece of it is varies greatly. I don't know if we want to get into reading it into the record, or
we want to read it real quick.
The third-party consultant does not find the conclusion presents in the study to be represented or validated in the report, since the submission lacks significant information about the existing site as noted above. It is our understanding that the town is currently requesting the applicant to provide development data to clarify the percent of increase in the traffic and the roadway associated with each project and substantiate the anticipated new traffic in the areas. It is clear that the project has met the minimum requirements for a short analysis per the site regulations, section 3.14C. At this time, a full traffic study may be necessary consideration for NHDOT review and revised driveway permit, which is required for this. The consultant coordinate with New Hampshire DOT, the town of Londonderry, scoping meeting, as John was suggesting, project driveway application. They go on to talk about additional existing conditions proposed for the change. They talk about existing traffic operations at either site. They talk about turn lanes. They talk about coordinating to determine other approved site developments for the background of volume being considered, traffic volume figures, which include both site driveways, new left-hand turn lane warrants analysis on traffic volumes, pavement markings provided if it is determined that the left turn lane is met. They basically, what they're saying is okay, you need a little bit more information and before you make any decisions, and a little bit more working together.
John, have you had a scoping meeting for traffic?
Not on this site.
Okay.
No.
Thank you. All right, Laura, you want to tell me?
I have one more thing.
Yep.
So I will say that I'm not, personally, I'm not that concerned with the traffic on this site, but I will tell you that when you talk about the south-moving traffic and that nondescript turnout, right, on Mammoth Road, there are several. There's one on Shasta Road, there's one near Shasta Road, there's a whole bunch of them on Mammoth Road North. And so this one it has a fog line on it, basically, the white fog line, which helps people not go in the ditch. And it is used, just as you describe, as a turnaround. Unfortunately, I will tell you that my observations after being here since 1978 is that that lane is many times has parked cars in it. And so it can't do both things. And the state has been, I think, very kind, because it creates quite a commotion for quite a few months in not addressing it or turning a blind eye or whatever, because there's cars parked where they shouldn't be on a state highway. So I wanted to get that out there to help you understand. I know you've been before us quite a few times, but I don't know how much you know about Londonderry. So that's my observation about that turnout lane.
Well, I've heard about what you're talking about. I've got a question for you.
Sure.
When it's busy and cars park along the edge of the road, does the traffic tend to slow down in the area as well?
It does. Yeah, it's
Right.
better than a traffic sign.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because the cars park on both sides.
But
and there's kids running back and forth on the road. So it's better than a 10-mile-an-hour speed sign, because it does it automatically.
That might actually be kind of an accidental example of context-sensitive design.
Exactly.
Where the traffic kind of slows down automatically when it needs to.
It's better than a speed bump.
Right.
Yeah. Other than the kids running back and forth, which scares the heck out of me. It's, kids are kids.
I will say, though, I have two concerns with that. One, we have the fire station down here, and if they need to go down that road, that's the access route. So if we've got traffic slowed down there, that could be a problem. On top of that, the lighting in that area isn't exactly the best. So if we have increased traffic in that area, you've got cars parked on the side of the road and you can't see it, or it's at night or anything else, that could cause some other issues there. So I think from a traffic perspective, those are two things.
Illumination.
Yes.
Anything else before we go to the next one? Go ahead, Laura. Thank you, sir.
The next one, I believe, is on waiver number 7. That is a waiver request in section 3.08C2 to
Laura,
not.
want to just bring that mic to you a little bit? Thank you.
I'm sorry?
Just bring the microphone
sorry.
to you a little bit. Thank you.
The next waiver request is from section 3.08C2 to not provide sidewalks. The regulations state that sidewalks shall be provided on-site or as off-site mitigation as the planning board deems necessary. So I don't know if that gives a little bit of wiggle room. If the planning board doesn't deem it's necessary, then we don't need a waiver. But we're asking for the waiver. Regardless, we do not believe that sidewalks are necessary or reasonable, given the agricultural use. The installation of the sidewalk was to serve no reasonable purpose. The waiver is justified because the literal application of this provision would be unreasonable and prohibit the agricultural use and activity in the context of what is happening on the site now.
Yes, sir.
I have a comment on that. I agree with the sidewalks, but then they're gonna be walking in those lanes that we're talking about turning in. So that's my concern. I don't know if we can do them both, because then there'll be no place for people to actually walk.
I don't know where are they supposed to put the sidewalks?
I don't even know where you.
Yeah, sidewalk to nowhere.
I don't even know.
Where in particular is
I don't know
the
how I
front of the
feel about
building?
sidewalks.
It says the frontage of the.
The frontage of the building.
Frontage of the building or frontage of the street?
Frontage of the building.
Well, that would depend on where you put your handicap parking.
I'm sorry?
That would depend on where you put your handicap parking if you're doing the frontage of the building,
It's
right?
identified as a sidewalk.
We're talking
Another
about a sidewalk
opportunity-
to a parking lot, not a sidewalk to a roadway? Is that what this is?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, I was under
You
sidewalk.
and me both.
for roadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get it.
So again, an opportunity would be to put some wheel stops along the front of the building. That would give them the 7-foot
Or
sidewalk
some
that would be
bollards,
required.
put some bollards in, or,
Well, a wheel stop would be better.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Next one, please.
Waiver number 8, it's from section 3.08B3, and I believe there was a concern from the staff review that the driveways, 2 driveways on the property may be closer than what is allowed by the town's regulations. These 2 driveways have been in existence. We believe that the distance between the 2 driveways from center to center is 221 feet. The applicant, with that figure, the applicant does not believe the waiver is necessary, but is submitting it in response to the design review comments received. The waiver is justified because a little application would basically require moving one of the driveways. This would be unreasonable in the context of these 2 driveways that have been in existence since 1950.
I'm confused.
Well, there's
I need clarification. So are you saying that the north curb cut, which has been closed off for quite some time, is gonna be opened up?
No.
Talking about the south one.
She's
Talking
talking
about the
middle,
dirt
she's
one.
talking middle and south.
The dirt one by the,
Next to
by
the
the,
goat
by the
farm.
animal farm.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
That's all,
Okay.
that's a dirt road right now.
Got it. All right. Yeah. So you wanna leave that a dirt road, is that what you're saying? A dirt
Leave it as is.
entryway?
Yes.
As a dirt entryway.
Well, I don't think that's the specifics of the waiver request. It was a waiver pertaining directly, I think, to the distance.
Location
Right,
of
the
it.
location.
Specific to the location, not the existing condition, just the location.
Right.
The distance between the 2.
Yep.
I need to go back to sidewalks. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
did you have
There
something,
is-
Jeff?
There is, Kelly.
Can I just read the regulation?
Yep.
So it's, access points shall not be located closer than 200 feet from one another on the same side of the road or closer than 50 feet to any intersecting street.
Is that 200 feet center to center or edge to edge?
It's the edge.
Edge to edge.
Extend the edge of pavement to the right-of-way, and what is that distance?
Okay.
And what is it now?
We not 221 feet, it sounded like?
We did center to center was 221.
Center to center.
Right.
Would you say it was
Uh,
220?
According to Ken, he gave me the figure of 221 from center to center.
I get edge to edge is 171, so call it plus or minus 15 feet, because I'm looking on a thing here.
Yeah. And again, part of that regulation comes back to circulation and traffic and all that too. So that's where that regulation originated from.
Okay.
Can I go back to sidewalks?
No, later.
Okay.
Yep. All right, Laura, you want to keep going?
I do. The next one, I think 9 and 10, have to do with section 4.12C19 and 4.14C27 to not provide basically details about trees greater than 15 inches in diameter. The current use of the property is a farm and agritourism. The waiver is justified because a literal application of the provision would be unreasonable in the context of what is happening on the site. And the second one, 10, is not to provide tree protection details given the proposed work to be performed on the site and the existing use of the property.
Thank you. Anybody have any on those? They're relatively straightforward. All right, and I think you're on your last one?
The last one was basically a catch-all provision if there was something that came up during the discussion with the board. I just put it out there as a safety measure in case there was something that we felt based on discussion with the board that we wanted to then ask a waiver for, we would do that. And I just wanted to comment with the close of the waiver request, and I understand the town's position and the board's position about safety and the regulations, and I'm very appreciative of that, and I understand that completely, obviously. But then there's the context of agritourism and the state legislation that exists regarding this, and that is to provide some type of relief for farms. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this. You have other farms in town that I believe were able to enjoy provisions under the agritourism statute, that they didn't have to do certain things, and I'm assuming that was because of the agritourism. Here we are in front of you just looking for that cooperation, that collaborative effect that I know the board's saying that they want to do, and the board has it within its power to do that. And that's what we're asking to do, requiring everything as if this is a full site plan, and that's been the way the discussion has been leaning, is contrary to what the state legislature, I believe, was trying to do, and according to Commissioner Jasper, was trying to do when these statutes were recognized and enacted. Again, this farm has been in existence for years, decades. You've seen what the farm's like. I appreciate Member DeFrancesco's comments about we haven't seen what it's been like in the wintertime. I understand that, but we've seen what traffic has been like. We've seen the parking lot full. Everybody here in town has witnessed that. So we are looking for the town's cooperation with the language contained in the state statute regarding waivers to help a farm survive in town without meeting every regulation within the town site plan regulations.
I'd like to say something. I'm just concerned about the safety. I'm not trying to browbeat you with, anything unusual here. But that's what we're doing this for, and it's all for the town's benefit too, because they'll be the ones that are coming to your restaurant. Thank you.
Nobody wants to see this more than me. I'm a city kid who moved to this beautiful town. There's an apple on every wall in this building. Want to see this wholeheartedly. I'm also a construction worker who pulls into a dirt driveway 52 weeks a year for 20 other tradesmen. And I'll tell you right now, you don't have winter parking, and you will be in an absolute, we're going to take it all home. I take it home on the road every day. So I can assure you that that is going to be a safety issue. I don't have anything other than my own personal 28-year experience carrying tools in the mud up to buildings I've walked up to from site plans that I've started from zero at. You will have this problem, all right? The safety aspect of it, I believe we do want to provide relief. Nobody wants to see this go bad, right? We want to provide relief, 100%. There's no doubt about that. At what cost to safety is that going to be? It sounds like you're just using that blanket to say, oh, well, we shouldn't have to meet any of this. And I think you have to meet some of it. But I do agree with you. Like, I really want to see this. There's a few things here I think that can be easily overlooked. Some of it, the landscaping plan's already, it's an orchard. But I do want to say one thing. Was LaBelle also one of these agritourism places? I went there, I pulled up on asphalt, just saying. I got out and it was a handicap spot. Took my kids sledding, and then we did the walk around the lights, and then I've even golfed it. I pulled up on asphalt. So, just saying, where I stand, I think the safety aspect of it and getting around that back corner, we've gone to concerts up there. That's a pitch back to you from the hill as well. So to have all that dirt just sounds like a little problem. That's all. I guess that's my opinion. Thank you.
And if I could just respond, nobody wants to make sure that the property is safe and accessible than the property owner.
Of course.
He's going, if the board is, gracious enough to grant some of these waivers, and that's not working, I would think he would be the first one making changes so it doesn't affect his business operations, his plan, the safety and well-being of his customers.
All right, I want to go to John and Kelly. I'm going to come to the board in general. I'm sure the board's got some questions, maybe outside of the waivers. I'll go to the public, and then we'll come back and start talking about some waivers here. John and Kelly.
Well, again, Laura did a good job going through the waiver requests. Again, in my mind, I think to try to chew all 11 waivers, I think what you need to do is kind of separate them out. And Brian, you're right, some of them are, kind of low-hanging fruit, but again, separate them out as far as, items that you need to look at as far as safety and health. And then the other ones are more maybe cosmetic, if you will. So that's the only advice I can give the board.
Kelly?
Agreed, so just to elaborate further on what John's getting at, so I think, for example, the wetlands waiver, the landscape waiver, both tree-related waivers, and perhaps the sidewalk would be the group that you go through first.
Yeah, I'm not done with sidewalks, sorry.
I'm telling you to go through
I
those
understand.
first, and then
Yep, thank you.
start getting into the stormwater management, grading, drainage.
Yep.
Just a suggestion, but
Sure.
take them in the order you.
Yeah, get rid of the easy ones first.
Yeah, I think so. All right, I'm gonna bring it to the board. Board, do we have any comments before we want to open this up to the public?
I want to hear Tony's sidewalk.
Well, if I read the plan correctly, they are building a sidewalk. It's in the back
It's in the rear of the
where the
building.
entrance is.
Yeah.
And that, if I read it correctly, it wasn't 7 feet, which our standard is 7 feet.
No, our standard is 6, Tony.
Well,
So-
okay, what?
Yeah, so again, the 7-foot width is in the front of the building, where somebody pulls up to the
Okay.
building.
All right.
Because again, people have the tendency to pull up until
Pull
they
all
get
the way
there.
up, right. Which is why the wheel stops are better.
That's why the wheel stops
Yeah.
are better, and that's why we require 7 foot, because you're gonna lose a foot from.
But,
at
so,
least a
okay,
foot.
so the walkway then in the back, how do we, so that's not a sidewalk, that's a walkway, how do we regulate that?
So again, I would have to go through the regular, the comments. Which one was it?
Isn't it this?
Correct. That's 4.
That's-
But then 5 though too, is the width of the 7-foot requirement.
That's what he's talking about in the front.
Correct.
So it's within that section of the waiver, it's 2 that addresses sidewalks, and then items 4 and 5 is specifically what you're getting at.
The walkway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the back, which is gonna be the front entrance. The back of the building will be the front entrance.
So it's to that section 2, then under 2 is the 5 Roman numerals. So one of them would be the 6-foot width, and then the other one is the 7-foot width.
Okay. So what?
It's covered.
So they're okay, the way they have it drawn, they're covered?
No, so that's what the waiver would be would also be the back one as well. If it's.
I don't wanna
if it's-
cover both of them.
If it's dimensioned at 6 feet. It's only dimensioned at 5-foot sidewalk.
Right,
So
so
that
as,
would be.
as dimensioned on the plan, it's 5 feet.
Correct.
Our standard is what?
It's 6 feet.
It's 6 feet.
Correct.
So that's out of code.
Correct.
And we need to address that. And what you're saying is the back of the building and the front of the building are combined in a waiver.
Correct.
And I would want to separate those out, because it's apples and oranges. See what I did there? Come on, guys, wake up, come on. Come on, I'm gonna be here all night, come on.
And apples and peaches, you know.
I could have said apples and peaches, but I didn't. But you understand what I'm saying? It's two completely different things. One, I'd be okay with. One, I'm not so okay with. And again, it gets down to wheelchairs and walkers and crutches and stuff. And two-way walkers into the main entrance of the building, which is in the back. What we do in the front is a totally different thing, and it has to do with, people are gonna nose into the red building, and then they're gonna walk. They're either gonna go to the back of their car and walk in the middle of the parking lot all the way around, or they're gonna walk towards the red building, and should there be a space between the front of that parked car and the wooden part of the red farm building, right? And John, am I close on that? You are listening.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Just say yes.
So, so you see how the two completely different things.
I know what you're saying.
So
I mean,
one is, it's, the front would not even be a walk, it would be a walkway, not a sidewalk.
Correct.
You could paint lines there and it would, and put wheel stops and it would accomplish
What it's asking.
what
Yeah.
the spirit of that
Yeah.
code is, right?
Yeah.
In the back, that's what you change. It's not, 5 feet's not enough. It's not even close to enough.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how you address that because it's all combined in one.
Yeah. We can discuss that a little further down. I'm not really.
Okay. Want to hear from the public?
Yeah, I know they are different, but I kind of see them contextually different as well.
Well, I think part of what I think he's trying to say, and we haven't said it yet, is that the logistics of the site
are a little confusing.
Well, if you want to put something in there the way it is today and leave the site the way it is, we're gonna have people wandering around the site.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't they want to leave everything the way it is. They don't want to invest and put the money in and do all the pieces they want to do. If I was the applicant, I'd withdraw all those waivers. I'd go sit down with the planning staff. I'd come up with what's the most logical way for the flow to work on the site so that the safety concerns are met, the fire department concerns are met, and then bring it back to us. Because you really have given us nothing to work with.
Right, and the reality is that this board is still, it's an agritourism, use. That is clear. We support that. This board is also responsible for the public safety. We do not have the information, at least in my opinion, have the information needed that this site, which is, again, let's be real here. We're going from a farm stand to a 99-seat restaurant. I am super in favor of that. But the site is not conducive, and I do not have really the information in front of me to kind of justify if this is good for the public safety or not. I apologize for that, but that's just the way I feel.
It would behoove them to work with staff and come up with a flow.
Yeah. I want to go to the public.
I have a question.
I want to go to the public. Do you want to hold it or no?
I want to get it out.
Sure.
I noticed that there was a bar in the middle of the restaurant. Is that inconsequential to the actual activities there? Is it just sort of wine for the dinners or whatever? Or is it a full-service bar?
I believe, I'm not 100% sure, it will be a bar in the restaurant that will be serving folks that are at the tables as well.
Okay, thanks.
All right. This is a public hearing. I'd like to open it up to the public. If you'd like to speak, please feel free to come on up, state your name and address.
Brent Lascala, 5 O'Connell. I was here for the first one back in January, and I've also been here for 34 years. I want to try to come up with a compromise with the parking situation. You bring up LaBelle. I was the banquet chef at LaBelle for 3 years, and the reason why that's paved is because we run $50,000 weddings, so I understand that. But I want to bring up another case, different state, but 2003, the Webbers, who own Gibbet Hill Grill. Now, their building is identical to theirs. They have 100 acres, a little bit smaller here, but what they wanted, which was actually flip-flopped, they wanted to have the whole parking lot paved, but the planning board did not want to do the paving of the parking lot. They wanted to keep it more rural. So one thing that I want to bring up as a conceptual proposition is you do construction Grass Street. Now, it might cost $1.50 more per square foot, but at the end of the game, it would save them more money in different areas. Someone who likes zoning and whatnot, it could save money in regards to kill two birds with one stone, the stormwater infrastructure. and some notes I've taken is because there'll be fewer storm drains because it's fully permeable. Smaller detention ponds, and there'll be less drainage piping. That right there can save $10,000 to $100,000 in costs in other areas that they're going to have to spend money. It's impervious to surface limits. There can be more parking spaces and fewer zoning variances that are going to be required to do such a thing, and quite frankly, simpler approvals. And it'll keep it that rural appearance, that the agu tourism that you're trying to promote and whatnot. I think this is a great idea to have a restaurant, and someone who's been in the restaurant industry as a chef for 14, 15 years, if you're going to have a 99-seat farm-to-table restaurant, I'm pretty sure you're going to be charging $45 to $55 a plate. And do you really want your customers trucking through mud to get to the front door? Like, come on. I think there has to be a compromise on each side, whether we pave the whole thing or but we can't leave it fully dirt. But I think the Grasscrete is working on both sides.
Is that the same as grassy pavers? I mentioned that.
Yeah.
It's basically a grid. It's a grid.
It could be, a foot and a half wide.
It's a geothermal grid that they lock in to walk with stone, and you weed whack rocks off people's foreheads. It's a tough substrate. But.
I mean, it's just an idea, but that's all I got for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Anything else from the public?
Junior.
Andy Mack Jr., Mammoth Road. Maybe some of you know where. Before I make any comments here, I want to thank the planning board for working with my family for years to help them navigate all the challenges of agriculture. It's this board and previous boards. A previous board that I worked with really helped us with guidance that, helped the farm to get its ice cream stand in the 90s, and it was another one of those little things that helped. So I stand before you very grateful for your time and your thought that you're going into it, and I understand you have your work cut out for you, so you have my respect for that. I guess it goes without saying that farming does require adaptability. And what I can speak to is the fact that, I can talk about family history, like Laura mentions. Much is made of the family's roots going back to 1732 here. We're extraordinarily blessed that we have a new steward of the farm that is a respectful and good neighbor that really has become like a member of our family, and we are like members of his family. He may not recover from that part. But farming really does require adaptability, and just a quick history here. The farm was not always an apple farm. We're talking about Scots-Irish settlers here. They grew potatoes. It was a potato farm, first and foremost. Apples for sustenance. We have records of apples being sold, barrels of apples in the 1800s. At one point, it was a dairy. My dad used to talk about its function as a dairy. And speaking of my late father, when the wholesale market changed in the 70s and then into the 80s, I was working at the farm and saw that happen, and that was a big market change, and wholesale market is just not what it used to be. Washington State is far better organized, much better organized and funded, and I think a lot of New England growers found that it was tough to match them in the open market. So simply put, my dad realized that there were some things that he was packing and sending out in a truck that he was losing $1 every time he did it, and he started the U-Pick. So, potato farm, dairy, U-Pick, we're still talking about farming, but it wasn't always that. My family had a history of making ends meet there were a number of generations that were blacksmiths. And something that you might find interesting is that in the probably late 1800s, there is a flat spot in back of the family homestead next to the farm. It's an old grass tennis court, and it was put there because they used to entertain people from the city. And those city folk came out not just to play tennis, but to recreate on the farm. They stayed there. They were fed. And that is part of what made things work. And that turned out to be very handy when the Depression hit, because they boarded people in the house again to get by, and a little less typical agricultural, activity. So then we have the ice cream stands, which we've already talked about. Farmers have to be able to do what is necessary to make ends meet now. It's a completely different game. Customers are looking for, they come out and they're not so much interested in buying apples sometimes as they are in getting that Instagram photo in front of the apple tree with their fall wear on and ready for fashion. So you try to make things work. Again, my respect to all of you for your spirit to make this work. I don't need to say we've got fewer farms in town than we used to, and the ones that are there are smaller, including Max. I urge you to continue to find ways to make this work so that this farm can continue as part of the center of town here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Hi, my name is Anne Marie Rich,
And I'm Dean Rich from 4 Sutton Place in Londonderry.
and we are here to just kind of represent the Londonderry United Methodist Church food pantry. I don't know how many of you are aware that we actually have a food pantry in town, right in the church. We service probably about 35 to 40 people weekly, mostly from Londonderry. I don't know if that shocks some of you, because you don't really think of Londonderry having people who, people living here who need to come out and get food from a food pantry, but it is happening, and we are growing. During the holiday season, we actually furnished 60-plus baskets for families in town that came forward looking for help. And I wish Andy had let us speak first, because I'm not nearly as organized as he is.
I'll just say that Max, people don't realize it, people don't know it, but Max Apples, they gave us food. They gave us fresh vegetables every week. And all of our clients would not have fresh vegetables, and he gives them to us. He doesn't charge us to it, and even in the spring, like with his tomatoes that come in, he brings us boxes of tomatoes, and he's trying to sell them down in his stand. He pinifies. He has the feeling for these people. These people can't afford fresh produce, but he provides it. Okay, think about that. And I gotta be honest, I'm frustrated with what I heard tonight. You can say, well, we could have problems with the driveway, we could have problems with pick anyone you talked about. You could have problems, but you can look at this. I could have a problem, or I can work. I can get the work done, and that's what's missing here. You need the attitude is, we're going to make this work, okay? And we can't satisfy every ridiculous law that is on the books.
I was glad to hear that there is appears to be widespread support amongst you guys to help make this work. And we really hope that some of these variances that they've asked for are something that you guys can work out. Every Tuesday morning, we show up at the farm stand, and he gives us anywhere from 400 to 500 pounds of food. And without that, our clients, you do not understand, you can never imagine how appreciative they are to come in and say, oh my gosh, butternut squash, and you're giving it away. Apples, we have boxes of apples that he brings. Sometimes he brings so much that we have to share it with a sister church up in Manchester, because we don't want to throw it away. So I know you guys all realize how generous they are, but just to bring that to your attention, that a lot of people don't realize what he does as far as donating to the town.
You don't see this side of Max Apples. And when I say, look around the room, look around, every one of these pictures is Max Apples. Okay? Make it happen, people.
So we'd like to end by saying we truly hope that something can be worked out without too much burden on the local small farmer, to meet standards that, I know you guys are interested in safety, and I'm glad that you do, but there is a whole nother side to this that I really truly hope that what you guys have said tonight, you really feel that you want this to work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, please.
Hi, Carol Mack. I'm the feisty one in the family, 240 Mammoth Road. I wanted to address a few of the points that have been brought up tonight. First of all, the fire trucks have been at Ice Cream on opening day, and they park on the dirt and in that area where you're worrying about it, where the test pits are. Fire trucks were also there in the beginning with the tree burning. We always had a fire truck there before the Boy Scouts got really, really good at handling the embers and things. And there was never a problem with the fire trucks, so I think that took care of that. As far as the traffic is concerned, if you go into Max Apples, which we just did the other day, the parking lot was empty, there was nobody there. And that's the problem that farmers are facing, is that, yeah, it's crowded sometimes, and there are cars parked on either side of the road, but for the most part, that building is not really being utilized. So what Kyle is coming up with is a way to use the building the rest of the year. And that's when there isn't a problem with traffic. So we're not going to have cars on either side of the road at that time. This is time when the town really wants a place to meet. Andy Sr. really wanted a place where people could go and meet. People could spend time as a community. And I think that this plays into that. So I think that we need to look at these farmers and look at the challenges that they're facing and say, yes, you're doing a good job. This board is doing a good job with looking out for safety and looking out for people. But I think that you also have to look at what the farmer is facing and the difficulties that he has. And that farm has been there for a long time. I've lived on Mammoth Road a long time. I know the road. I know the problems that it has. And I don't see this restaurant is going to be causing additional problems. I think the studies that have been done are showing that it's going to work out. And we would really appreciate if you would help them to make this a reality. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public?
It's a long 30 minutes.
That was a little bit longer than 30 minutes. I apologize.
Mike DeBella, 7 Chalmers Road. My wife and I bought that house about 5 years ago. Yeah, like I said, like I mentioned before, if this restaurant's going to bother anybody, it's going to bother us. Because literally, you can be at that ice cream stand and look across the pond. You can see my house. I'm probably the closest to him. I understand the safety stuff. I've driven trucks for 38 years. I've hauled heavy equipment. I know all about I had one 2 years ago when I was, delivering home heat and oil, and all of a sudden, a driver gave away, and I got towed out. So, I've been there. I get the safety stuff. Other than that, as a homeowner and a butter, you know, the only question I did have was, I understand the theme of the restaurant is plate to table. Do we know the hours of service? Are we serving are we serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Are we serving, lunch and dinner? I'm just kind of curious. Like I said, I don't.
Hours of operation, I guess,
Yeah.
Laura?
Laura, you can answer that.
You know, I've lived in restaurants for 15 years, and some open at 5, some do dinner and open at 4.
Almost every restaurant in town is closed and done by 9, and as it is now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I mean, if you look around town after 9 o'clock, you can't find a place to go eat.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. I was looking at the
Right,
breakfast
just as
thing.
an example.
I'm a breakfast guy, so you see me walking through the woods. You may see me in there eating. So, it's, like I said before, I hope the town can work out the issues with him, and we can get this thing going. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public?
Hello, Sandra Legue, 2 Fiddlers Ridge Road. I'm generally in support of this. It's a unique idea for our town, but I've certainly gone to farm-to-table dinners at other farms in New Hampshire and enjoyed a lovely evening. I'm most familiar with farms that do it a few times a year during the growing season. There are places in the Lee area, like 4 times a year, they open it up. So it is different that this would be every day, year-round, and I am really appreciative of the seriousness that you are taking it. I appreciate that you do that, and I want you to do that with every applicant. And I tend not to be in favor of waivers, but this is a different situation. This is a farm we love and that we want to support. So here's a funny, about the very first waiver request about the signage. I appreciate what the Conservation Commission is trying to do. It seems like a simple fix. The signs along the fence that face the parking lot could be as simple as saying protected conservation area. Please enjoy this area responsibly. And then you solve the problem of you are invited at these picnic tables and we are educating them to be careful and don't throw things in the pond. So I just want to throw that out there. Protected conservation area, please enjoy this area responsibly. Could be an easy solution to that signage. I'm not going to have any educated input on parking lot drainage or grading. I leave that to people who know more about that than I do. I was going to make a little joke about the fire trucks love ice cream, but Carol beat me to that. The trucks are always there having ice cream and other responsibilities that they have there. So, I mean, I'll leave that up to you. As far as, I appreciated the gentleman who previously worked at LaBelle about, if your average plate is going to be at a certain level, trudging through the mud doesn't kind of go with the vibe you're trying to make. By happenstance, Russ and I were skiing at Ragged Mountain today, and it was it's a dirt parking lot. It was plowed, so it was snow covered with a little ice on it when we went in, and when we left at 3 o'clock after après ski, it was a mud pit today. Like I was sinking in my boots. So in just the span of one day, in the middle of, whatever we are, March 4th, the parking lot changed dramatically. So pavement seems like an extreme ask, and leaving it like it is seems like you're not going to get the vibe you want. So I don't have a solution, but this gentleman here made an interesting comment. I don't know what the answer is. I just wanted to give that example from today of what happened. I mean, we were sinking in. But is there a way to do it that's not going to really be financially a burden to the applicant? The only one that I also want to comment about the sidewalks within the property. That's overkill. That's not necessary. Some of you might know me as being a pedestrian advocate and a walkability advocate. I think sidewalks within the property is overkill, but there's ways to direct traffic through even a dirt parking lot by ropes and saying this is the area you walk. There are ways to do it without, changing the aesthetic all the way to sidewalks. So that seems like overkill. I am concerned about the traffic piece, and I really, really appreciate hearing from Andy Jr. and Carol, people I respect immensely, immensely. So I appreciate that. But in the fall, we all know it has gotten to a level of concern. And it's charming, and we all know to slow down to 10 miles an hour. And everybody's got their flannel on that's visiting from elsewhere and going for their photographs and their apple picking. But with the cars parked, and the gentleman, and I was listening from home, by the way, in case, as you can tell by my notes, the gentleman who did the traffic study, it is cars along both sides of the road. And I know I'm not telling you anything. I'm doing it for the folks that don't live here. It's cars along the entire length of both sides. It is people crossing at many different points. There's not a set crossing point. And people walking along the edge. It is an accident waiting to happen, but we know to slow down, and we do our best, and everything's been fine. We can deal with it. Are we able to say that if the when the restaurant goes forward, that we can't have parking year round on the side of Mammoth Road? We can't. It's too dangerous, especially when it's not daylight. The apple picking is during the day. Some of this is going to be at night. So we have to be able to contain the parking of the restaurant on the property, I would say would be my one opinion. And I'm sure probably the intent of the applicant as well. So I might just be mentioning that. But I think that's a little bit of something, but we have to do it in a way that encourages this project to go forward without you guys just rolling over and saying yes to everything. I think there's a happy medium, and a happy medium that leans towards making sure that the project goes forward in a responsible way. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the public? All right. Oh,
You have a number of,
hold on. Nope,
and you have a
maybe.
number of written.
I know. There's a pretty significant number of written ones. You're more than welcome to read them.
I think your secretary or vice chair could read them, they're right in front of you.
Is there anybody here that has anything else to say? All right, so let's, before I close public comment, Mr. Rugg, if you could go through the ones in the file here for the board.
Before that happens, can I just make one comment in response? Could I make one comment in response?
Let's finish these
Okay.
first. Thank you.
Rules of procedure, that's coming up. Procopio, that is coming up.
Mr. Chair, I have them right here if you would.
Yeah,
like me
if
to.
you want to go through, that'd be great.
Keach Nordstrom.
Okay, so
Jeff's going to read them, Mr. Rugg.
first one is from Robin Gardner. Subject, tonight's town meeting, Max Orchard proposed farm-to-table restaurant. Good afternoon. I'm a Londonderry resident in favor of allowing Max to move forward and build a farm-to-table restaurant at the Mammoth Road location. In my view, this is a win-win project. It offers our community a place to dine locally, enjoy our neighbors, all with fresh food options. I also see that this project could benefit the local economy by purchasing from other local farms and growers, using them as vendors for the restaurant, and i.e. beef, eggs, milk, vegetables, not grown in Max, etc., etc., etc. More importantly, I hear so many in Londonderry are concerned with the loss of local farms and their land. In these modern times, farms need to diversify, and many have. We should encourage and support their ideas and entrepreneurship. Max has a historical value dating back to 1732. So let's approve this win-win project and keep them farming. Thank you for your time. Please vote yes to allow this project to move forward. Sincerely, Robin Gardner, 32 Sanborn Road, Londonderry. Okay. Next one is from Kathleen Salvucci. I am writing to express my support for Mac's request for a new restaurant. Londonderry is in need of more dining options. I believe we should prioritize these types of establishments over the continued approval of additional banks and tire stores in our town. Best regards, Kathleen Salvucci. All right. Just a note, I did not read these before, so I'm not sure what I'm saying. The next one is from Matt Lart. Subject, Londonderry Board Letter. I am writing to express my strong support for the proposal by Max to open a farm-to-table restaurant at their farm. The initiative represents a wonderful opportunity for our community to embrace local agriculture, sustainability, and high-quality, locally sourced food. I was, however, deeply disappointed to learn that this project is being required to undergo a full site plan review despite the fact that Max is not expanding the building or the parking lot. A full costly review seems unnecessary for a project that utilizes existing infrastructure and aligns perfectly with the agricultural community-focused goals of this area. It is baffling to see that the planning board pushed through intense high-density development, such as condo projects, while imposing heavy bureaucratic burdens on local family farm trying to diversify. Supporting a farm-to-table restaurant is a vote for community health, local jobs, and land stewardship. In contrast, large-scale, high-density residential development often puts strain on our infrastructure without providing the community benefits that a local farm provides. It is starting to feel to me and members of the community that some people on the board are pro-development and anti-agricultural. We should be doing everything we can to help our local farms thrive. Furthermore, I was frustrated to see the Conservation Commission wanting new wetland buffers on farm irrigation pond that predates local codes. Forcing modern setbacks on a long-standing agriculture infrastructure is a clear overreach. I urge you to support the waivers and approve this project, allowing them to proceed without excessive undue requirements that hinder our local agricultural community. Best regards, Matt Lart, Londonderry. No address provided. We have more. This one is from resident Diana Ailman. There is no subject line. I am a Londonderry resident. I am in support of Mac's request for a farm-to-table restaurant. Mac's has been a long-standing business in this town. They are our friends and neighbors and support our community. This type of restaurant would be a great addition to our town. Sincerely, Diana Ailman. We have another residents in support of Mac's proposed restaurant. This one is from Betty Poole. Hello, I am a member of the Londonderry United Methodist Church and know just how much Mac's supports our food ministry. And Ms. Poole did provide comments previously, so thank you for those. They are very generous. I ask you to support their proposed farm-to-table venture and think it would be a great addition to our town. Thank you. Elizabeth Poole.
That's it.
And I think that's it.
All right. With that, is there anybody else in the public before I close comment?
Just one more thing quickly. This is Russ Legue, 2 Fiddlers Ridge Road. Couple things, a lot of discussions. I took a lot of notes. Sounds like you guys have it all handled pretty well from all any concerns that I might have had. Pave it, don't pave it. You know, there's pros and cons to both. Personally, I would like to see it not paved because you have issues with runoff. But as my wife kind of stole the thunder about the Ragged Mountain story that when we came downstairs and or after skiing, we came down into the parking lot and it was literally mud up to our ankles. So I don't know if you check with the fire department on would they want to be bringing their trucks in there on a day like today or not. There's something in between paving and leaving it as it is. There's been some discussions about that already. So maybe just see those through, so to speak. The other thing is that, I'm hearing a lot, let me go back and say, big proponent on more restaurants in town. So I'm a big proponent on that. I want to see this happen as much as anybody else. I'm hearing a lot of farm-to-table talk. Farm-to-table means consisting of or relating to locally grown and produced food. So that means a big farm, food production situation that's being used locally, obviously. So I don't know if there's anything that can be applied to the plans, any notes, that kind of thing, to make sure that that's what it is, if this is what they're proposing, is that's what 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if it's up and running, and it's a 7-day a week or 5-day a week, that it's farm to table and not just a commercial restaurant, which also means working together with all the other local food producers here in Londonderry. I see it as we've had a long history with farms in town working together. I'm hearing a little bit of whispers that that's not quite as strong as it used to be. Hopefully that's not true. But if this is a farm to table, a rising tide lifts all boats. So if there's some way you can promote that it becomes a true farm to table operation, then that would be what I would like to see, or I would like to at least have that proposed on the plan, so it's not just a commercial, doesn't just become like another commercial restaurant on a road that's not really built for that kind of situation. So, and I think that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else from the public?
Hello, I'm Bob Bonham, and up until just a couple of years ago, I lived in Londonderry since 1984, and I saw the way that Woodmont Orchards transitioned into a housing development, and I'm sure the pressures are there for the same thing to happen to Max, and maybe it's inevitable, I don't know. But it, keeping a business going is kind of important, and I happen to think that it would be nice if Max could stay and be something other than a housing development. That's, when we first got here, although I would like to make one other comment. As a member of the Londonderry Methodist Church, we wanted to buy some land from Mac to expand our parking lot, and he wouldn't sell us a square inch. I don't know why. So I had one opinion of Max back then, but that has significantly changed since then with the generosity that they've come up with for our church and the food ministry. It's just incredible. So. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else from the public? Seeing none, I will close public comment, bring it back to the board. Laura, I know you've been waiting patiently. You had something you wanted to add.
Yep, it's just one comment. I mean, you've heard the sentiments of the town, concerns. Again, I echo Max Apple's initiative to make sure the business thrives. He's not going to put himself in a position where the business doesn't thrive, and he will put the safety of his customers first. But the second and most important point that I want to make is words have power, words have meaning. When you look at the statutory language for the waiver, the last provision of that, because there's been a lot of talk about public safety and public health, the language in the statute is the waiver will not have a demonstrated adverse effect on public health or safety. So that's the language that this board is to look at. The waiver will not have a demonstrated adverse effect on public health or safety. Now, the problem is, like with all statutes, it doesn't define demonstrated. So that's up to you, and it doesn't get into who has to make that demonstration. Since it's up to the board, I think in order for the board to deny the waiver, they would have to say what that demonstrated adverse effect is and not granting the waiver. I haven't heard any concrete information from the board, except for stuff that was speculative, as was already mentioned, that there is a demonstrated adverse effect with some of the waiver requests. So I'm just putting that out there for words have meaning, for the board to consider, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. obviously there's quite a bit here. There are 11 waiver requests. In my opinion, 7 of those waiver requests are relatively, are something we can waive in good faith and know that we are not creating a public health, an adverse effect on public health or safety. I think there's one waiver request in here that's just kind of a blanket, as you had discussed, was kind of thrown in at the end. You know, at the end of the day, there's 3 waiver requests in here that I think need further discussion. I think that, you know, while the board can go through these and make a decision, you're gonna then have a decision from the board. I can't speak for the board, but I'm relatively confident that there are 3 waivers in here the board is not going to be willing to waive, because we have our own feelings on what those, what could, you know, result in not making some of these needed improvements. So out of 11, I think there's 3 that are really worth discussing here. My concern is if we go through this as a board and we either grant or deny these waivers, then you're just gonna have denied waivers and be in between a rock and a hard place. Because then after we do these waivers, we're gonna go for a conditional approval. And then we may vote to have a conditional approval on this, on 3 waivers that I think the applicant feels as though are unnecessary and an unfair burden on him. So now he's gonna have an approved site plan that he can't do anything with, because now he needs to show these waivers that were denied. He needs to meet the requirement now. It's giving us the inability as a board to work around, here's the requirement and what are we willing to consider as acceptable and work with the applicant on. I think it would be in the best interest of the applicant to ask us to hold off and have a meeting with town staff to talk about 3 of these waivers here. I think it would be in your best interest to talk to your applicant about that, to see if we can get somewhere. Because if we don't do that, then we're saying no to these waivers, and you have to meet the regulation as outlined, which is putting you in a tough spot.
With that, would the board entertain a 5-minute recess so I can have a conversation with my client?
Absolutely.
Could you tell us, I think I know what the 3 waivers are, but can you give me a?
Maybe review the 3.
Yeah. 3.09K. I'm now kind of starting to speak for the board.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, Mr. Chair, we need to have consensus
I was gonna say, before I do that, let's get a,
I'm pretty sure I know what the
a head
result is
nod.
gonna be, but we need
Let's
to
get a
have a
head nod.
consensus, please.
Yeah.
May I suggest maybe doing just passing the easy ones and the ones left over, or?
That's fair. I
Does that
would
make
be
sense?
open to that. Are you
Well,
good with that?
You could pass the easy ones and everything else, but if you're gonna continue anyway,
Right.
why bother?
Oh, I see.
Well, it would give us,
It would give us
No,
a
I mean,
better
it gives them an
footing.
opportunity to
Yeah.
figure out if that's what they, but if we're gonna continue anyway, why bother?
it would give us, if I may, sorry.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're
thank
good.
you. It would give us an opportunity to really home in on those items of most concern to the board. I think that would be
I
the
think he just told
advantage.
you what they were.
What's that?
He just told you what they were.
I thought,
Well,
I don't think he did.
Yeah, we
Well,
need,
he's
did.
gonna, he's
I
gonna,
think you
he's
got
gonna
one-
tell
one
you.
out.
There's 3 items that he's gonna tell you we have a concern with.
I'd rather
Okay,
do.
that's
I
great.
would rather do a consensus of the board for an understanding of this than a full vote, to let them have their recess
Yes.
and then come back to
Yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah.
Than voting.
that's what I'm saying. I don't wanna vote. I wanna.
Because if we're voting, then we're voting on all of them when we're either saying yes or no.
Right, we're
You know what I
agreeing.
mean? Yeah.
So my suggestion would be, Mr. Chair, to not, so that we don't belabor this thing, just say the 3 that you're thinking of.
That
And we'll
works.
do a consensus. Is that what everyone
Yeah.
else is thinking?
Yes.
So I've got 3.09K, which is parking, surface standards, and alternative surfacing. I've got 3.07, which is checklist 6, grading plan requirements. And then I got 3.07, which is checklist, what's that, 11.2, I believe, which is your stormwater management report and requirement. Those 3 to me are the ones that are very much up for discussion. I don't know how I feel about number 11, which is the general agritourism relief request. I think it's too broad. But I do think the rest of them, I feel as though we're willing to waive. So 7 of the 11.
Yeah,
Is
so
there any in there that I'm missing?
I'm still stuck on the
Parking lot.
the sidewalk thing, because,
Well, we can deal with that later.
okay,
Yeah,
because the back walkway needs to be addressed.
But we
The
can
back,
address, if they
the
can.
back, which is the entrance to the, has to be addressed.
Well, let me ask you
But
this.
that's addressed in code, right, John?
Correct. That's exactly what I was getting at.
You can,
Whether
you can fix that if and when it's approved, and I think it eventually will be, then you can address the size of that sidewalk.
It would have to meet.
that was
And again,
exactly what I was
I
going
think
to
it's a
say.
simple one that I would hope that you can talk to your client about, or
Yeah, so yeah, I'm on board with those.
I agree that it's really more in the code side of things, which is gonna have to be met to open the doors.
Yes,
I would agree with you on
I
that.
think you're good there.
because you got ADA stuff to think about
That-
too, and
exactly.
ADA is not gonna go 5 feet.
Exactly.
It's not, they'll laugh at you, so.
ADA is gonna come into play on the whole site as soon as they open, as soon as they start moving on things.
So we're good with a recess?
And they're not
Hold
taking
on.
that into consideration.
Kelly, I feel like you want to say
Can
something.
you just clarify your consensus on number 11, the overall blanket waiver, if you will?
Personally, that would be something that I would vote no on.
I don't think it's a good idea to ever have a blanket waiver, in my opinion.
Correct.
Yeah, no.
Correct.
Absolutely not.
A blanket, a no, it doesn't start anywhere, it doesn't end anywhere. That's a mess waiting to happen, number 11. So personally, I would stay away from that myself. Ann, are you okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. You're awful
So-
quiet tonight. You're awful quiet tonight.
I'm involved,
All
I'm
right,
looking at it.
So Laura, if I'm looking at this on our waiver, on the staff memorandum, which I believe you have, we're looking at 2, we're looking at 4, and we're looking at 5.
And 11.
11, I think we all just
Oh,
agreed
two-
that we'd vote no to.
Yeah.
Yep.
2, 4, and 5, we may say yes to,
Correct.
or we may,
Well,
No,
2,
I mean-
4,
I mean,
2,
2,
4, and 5,
we're
if
gonna
we
s-
say no to, they're out of options.
they're in trouble.
Correct.
They would be much more, it would behoove them to go have a conversation with staff.
Yeah.
So can I say, before they leave, can I say one thing about, what Laura talked about, demonstrated? You have to demonstrate it. That's the same problem that we have on reasonableness, right? Two words, problematic, representatives in Concord, they don't pass a bill unless it has words like that. And I don't know for a fact, but I think they do it on purpose. You know, so it's a problem, and it ends up, and that's how towns get in so much litigation in New Hampshire, because of language like that are in RSAs that we're supposed to look at and interpret and figure out what's the right thing to do.
It's the same concept as workforce housing. What
you
is
go.
a fair share?
There you go. But let's be clear,
Yeah.
let's be clear to this board, we're still talking about Forster versus the town of Henniker. We're still talking about that. And what that said, the decision that said, and that's what gives the RSA teeth, right? And what it said was that it does not support the contention that the legislature intended to require municipalities to allow agritourism within their borders. At most, they evince the legislature's general intent to support traditional agriculture and agricultural activities, and they demonstrate legislative intent to allow reasonable local regulation, not to preempt the entire field. Thus, they did not preempt a local ordinance. And then when you read back down to 674-32, it talks about all the specifics, which Laura already talked about, generally applicable building and site requirements such as dimensional standards, setbacks, driveway, and traffic regulations, parking requirements, noise, odor, vibration, restrictions, or sign regulations. So when they come back, that's really where we're at. That's what we're talking about.
So, if I may, before we meet with our client, we're understanding right now, the board generally has consensus that you're not comfortable, you're not fully comfortable on those waivers. You're not saying necessarily how you would vote. You've given us indication through that the other waivers you are more comfortable with. Just so that we're being responsive in the event, and just so I'm fully informed when we go to speak with our client, you're not necessarily saying that you're done looking at those particular waiver requests. And I wonder if it may be that, some of the work that can be done between the board and staff and between us and staff might be to augment the materials we have regarding those three elements. So that maybe we're coming back and still seeking a waiver, but saying, and I'm again, this is just hypothetical, I haven't spoken with the client yet, but that we're giving us time to work more on that in general.
Correct.
Okay.
Right
thank you.
now, what's going to happen is if we stay the way we are now, I know how this board's going
Right.
to vote. It's not going to be in your favor, and now you have to meet the requirement.
Right.
Come back with a waiver for the same thing, but outline what that middle of the road is.
Yeah.
That is
Chip and
between
seal
doing
or-
nothing and meeting the letter of the letter of the law of the
We're
ordinance.
looking for the meeting of.
The medium point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Well,
That's
that's
what
what
I've been trying to
we
encourage
feel
you to
that's
do
what
all
the
night.
statute is meant.
Yeah.
All night long, we've been trying to encourage you. Go work it out.
Yeah.
We're not on board.
All right.
So, I mean, that's what we've been trying to say for an hour and a half.
We've been listening to you for an hour and a half. Yeah, we'll go talk about it.
Could you open one of the side rooms there for that to give them 5 minutes? Yep. All right. 5-minute recess. Do we have to vote on that? I don't think we've ever taken a recess.
Just state you're going into a recess.
Chair just
Now,
declares the
for
recess.
5 minutes.
Remember, we cannot talk about this.
Correct. We are going into a 5-minute recess.
Luckily, who was it that got caught outside and didn't have their phone? Somebody on this board got stuck outside and didn't have their phone. They were banging on the door, trying to get back in.
That's a picture of the scene.
There's really no way other than throw rocks against the window or.
Hey, did you see that thing I sent you that the TM sent the favor?
Oh, maybe you would police
Wait
station.
till you read this one.
Get in.
No, it's true.
So the Henniker one,
No, I
Tony, was
agree.
a wedding venue. It really had no relation to agriculture.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Jeff, where were you, buddy?
Bathroom.
Oh.
Oh, your text said you were stuck outside.
I was.
Did someone let you in?
Yeah.
He's in the
Alright.
bathroom.
Yeah, I'm glad that, like my colleagues on the board,
He was right on it.
like jumped up.
Well, my
opened the
phone was
door.
over here.
I think Jake's walking around outside looking for you.
Where's Jake?
He's here.
I'm outside looking for him.
Now he's locked out.
I guess he got in. I guess he got in.
How'd you get in here?
All right.
You can't make this up.
We are back from our recess here. Miss Candia.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity
Yeah.
to allow me to talk with my client. After our conversation, he would request the board make a motion and approve those waivers that they're inclined to do and continue 2, 4, and 5, so we can go forward and having further discussion with town staff.
How do we feel about that, board?
Yeah.
He's gonna get hung up on the sidewalk thing.
Tony?
Yeah, gonna get hung up on it.
Well, no, I think
No,
you were
I'm
able
good.
to address it because it's
Okay,
going to
good.
get addressed. with John.
Then I'm fine.
Yeah.
No, I work it out with John.
All right.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So let's go through these waivers one by one. We'll make motions on them.
We can't do a group motion?
No.
Okay.
We can't approve him as a group?
No. I don't want to, but we're also not going to make. And can I do that though?
Technically, you can.
You can, yes.
Because then I'm answering half the waivers. No. If I can not make any sort of motion on any of these waivers. So we're going to go through and approve the ones we've discussed. What does that do for the,
opinion, it's cleaner to continue it.
as a whole? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting in something a little messy.
I think to get.
Yeah,
We would have to.
yeah.
Well, I think the applicant has gotten the idea that we're going to move forward with those.
Yeah.
What I suggested before him is to hold all the waivers and just have a continuance before we went to recess.
Your ask when you recessed was if they would consider discussing with staff. their
Correct,
concerns
which we,
over.
sounds like you're more than willing to. Okay.
That was the board's ask.
That's our biggest thing. So,
So I
your
think-
question of can we answer the waivers, I don't know. I'm not comfortable answering some and then not answering the others. I would rather say let's continue this with a very full understanding of, which I would agree that we have. Do you agree?
I do agree.
So
That's why he's
I
asking
would
for that.
rather say let's continue this without making any recommendations on waivers, because I don't want to answer some of them and then not answer the others.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I
So-
do, and I think my client's response would be, it just gives him a certain level of comfort that he understands he's now progressing instead of having everything continued. So I
Kyle,
think
you are progressing. I know. You're progressing.
Could you please ask the applicant for a date for continuance?
Yeah. What would you want for a date on a continuance?
the first,
So just remember though, again, so whatever we work out and stuff, you may not have time to put all the details together. So we're still gonna come here with a half-baked cake. You follow me?
What do you recommend? What do you guys meet every 2 weeks or?
We meet the first and second Wednesday of the month.
Every month.
Okay.
So the next meetings are April 1 and April 8.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to say, but again, it's I'd rather work it out with you upstairs versus
John
coming
had it
back
his
down
way.
here.
He'd tell you, come back in November. We don't want that.
Should we continue to April 1st, and then if we're just not ready in the days leading up to that meeting, submit a subsequent request to continue?
You're not gonna be ready, because the submittal dates are,
Oh, to some date, sorry, April, should it be, sorry.
so get,
April 8th.
Why don't, I feel like it would be appropriate to do May 6th.
Right.
Because that's giving you a month. I mean, because you got to realize, you
don't want to do May 6th. This has been pushed off a year.
you have to realize, Kyle, you got to real, John, for the May, or excuse me, for the April 8th meeting, which is the second meeting, when do we have to be submitted by to get into that meeting?
my secretary will tell you.
Wow. Forgot your rank.
Hold on.
Hey,
oh, wow, try to.
Where's that hostile work?
All right.
Where is that
So-
form?
Kelly will let us
The May 6th submission date is
No,
April.
April, what's the April 8th
Oh, sorry,
submission
March
date?
19th.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 working days from today. You have to submit by to be on the second meeting in April. That's not much time that is not a lot of time.
Just to answer the question that was asked by the applicant, you can request continuance to either April date or any date, and then ask for another continuance. You can do that, but just with respect to the timelines that you're confined to for submitting, that's what you're looking at. So-
So then let's do it for the 8th. Let's do it for April 8th.
So then I'll make a motion that we continue this application to April 8th.
I have a motion from John. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Tony. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Tony D, aye.
John Farrell, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This has been continued to April 8th, 2026.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
7 PM, right here.
Yep.
No
you.
further notice to the abutters.
Negative.
This is your
This
only.
is your one and only, as Mr. Rugg commonly reminds us. That this is the
That's-
notice.
Statute.
All right. Let me see here.
On rules and procedures?
Yeah, we got something.
Rules and procedures.
Procedures.
Where'd that nice agenda Kelly gave me go?
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes, Kelly.
you have your rules procedure, which have been updated per Mr. Rugg's comments from whenever that meeting was. Your current rules state that you have to hear them twice consecutively before you can formally adopt them. So this is the first time.
Didn't we
Second will
change?
be next week, and then you'll formally change that requirement to do this
Once.
reiterative process and adopt the proposed amendments.
Fantastic.
But if you do have questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Fantastic.
Otherwise, I have nothing else for you.
I don't have any questions. Everybody good?
Yep.
We're good.
I have a,
You need a motion, Mr. Chair?
Oh, you're asking a question? Motion
Jesus
to adjourn.
Christ, Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. I have one more thing for you. I apologize, I do. So, the planning staff have been desperately trying to schedule this PUD public hearing.
Oh, jeez. Yes.
March 23rd, 6 PM
2026.
of this year, which I believe is a Monday. That is when we are looking to schedule it. I just need a quorum.
I cannot be here.
I'll be on an airplane to Atlanta.
I'll be here.
I won't be able to be
One.
here.
I'll be here.
2.
And
Monday,
What's
it's
the
like
date?
the worst day of the
Monday, March 23 at
week.
6
The
PM.
weekend hits me.
Sounds good.
3?
3? You have to be here or we're not gonna have a
You
quorum.
can't. Yeah. I mean,
You
you
have to be here or
can't.
there's not
Yeah.
gonna be a quorum.
I could be here.
Yes.
Ryan's here.
Ryan?
4.
4? Anybody else?
So we got to talk to Giovanni.
Is
I
there
just need
another?
people to respond to their emails, but yeah.
Wait, I mean, if you go all the way to March 23rd, why don't you just, I mean, is April 1st packed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's,
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that
never
was
mind,
the
never
whole-
mind,
Yeah.
never mind.
Oh, yeah, because I thought about that. I suggested that actually, and you all wanted its own meeting, so here we are.
Yes, I do apologize.
Yeah, I
So
love
we
when
got-
that happens.
So we got two other people that aren't here tonight, Giovanni and who and
John Cruz
and
Cruzy
and
Jason
Knight. And Jason, so there's three other people. If we can get those three people at 7,
You're good.
that's a pretty good night.
I think you have got a very good shot of having 3 of
So
them.
do we have to
At
go to
least
their
2.
house and knock on their door to get them to answer, or?
Tell me, because I have basically one means of contacting you all.
March 23rd, it is.
All right,
Okay.
because I have to legally notice it, so
Correct.
that's
Let's-
the,
You'll let us know if it's a go.
I will.
It is.
It is a go.
It is.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
making the
You
decision.
can, you can
We can
make
make
it a go, and if you don't have a
Yeah.
quorum, you don't have a
then
quorum.
then that's
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
March
let's do that.
23rd. Please notice.
So I have a thing.
I'll be driving to Boston, going on an airplane.
Again.
So, Mr. Chair, at your request, I met with the Heritage
Thank you.
Commission at their last meeting. You had a family last-minute thing going on. So I took the hour-and-a-half lead time that you gave me, and I studied really, really hard. I thought it was a fruitful meeting. Unfortunately, there were only 4 members there because it was during a vacation week. But they did have the checklist. The 4 people that were there voted in favor of the checklist, which is going to be now supplied to applicants starting in,
Right now.
at the next
Immediately.
application that comes in, they're going to get that checklist. There was some question about their rules and policies, or
Rules of procedure.
rules of procedure, and apparently at the next meeting, they're gonna work on that. There was a little bit of back and forth between myself and another member about bottom up and top down, and I explained that this one is top down, and you do what the planning board asks you to do. Not sure they're fully on board with that concept, but we'll know.
Not a concept.
At the next, I know. We'll know more at their next meeting, which I believe it's scheduled for them to talk about that.
The rules of procedure?
Rules of procedure.
March 26th.
Yeah, so essentially,
And-
the task that the planning department is undertaking now is providing some red lines to their rules of procedure to essentially align them to be consistent with what a majority of our boards and commissions have for rules of procedure, which are focused on procedure, not regulatory enforcement items, for example, which seemingly are what the current heritage rules are. It's
We
not
could probably
appropriate
get-
for the rules of procedure, so
We can
from
probably
that
get rid of a
meeting, we
lot of
agreed to do that.
verbiage in those rules of procedure.
Yeah, so at that meeting, Art asked that the current ones be removed because their current ones reference an RSA, and it lists the RSA, and it says, what it says in the RSA is this, this, and this. And one of the things in specifically, the RSA doesn't say that, which is a big problem. And it had to do with them
Reviewing all.
reviewing
subdivisions.
all applications, I think is
Yeah.
what it says. So that's gotta go. Again, there was only 4 of them. There was a suggestion made that the chair of that board maybe get a note out, or maybe you could, Kelly, maybe you could do it too. Or Kirsten.
Secretary,
Or
Kelly.
Kirsten, don't even. To the.
Let me just check this real
to
quick.
to the other board members to watch that meeting, because it is kind of informative. And for those of you who have nothing to do for about 41 minutes, you'll understand what went on in that meeting if you just take 41
David
minutes to
Ellis
watch
has
it.
some very, very good points. He's
Yeah, Dr. Ellis was amazing.
Historically oriented.
And he basically led the charge of we should be doing heritage things, not talking about parking spaces.
I
Sir.
do notice that when you refer to Mr. Ellis as Dr. Ellis,
Yes.
you don't extend the same
I don't because I've never seen anything in print where it has your name with doctor.
okay.
Behind the name. Show me one of those and you'll be doctor from now on. By the way, he said,
please don't use that. If you want to say Mr., that's fine, or if you want to call me by my first name, that's fine. He didn't want me to use Dr.
We have a whole
First.
nother list of names for you there, Jeff.
So,
One of them could be doctor.
so with that, if no one has anything else, motion to adjourn.
Thank God, second.
Motion second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Go to the bathroom again.